Chapter 905. 905 Chapter 905 Nature Fruit. This canyon is full of hidden dangers. A few of us have already died in there. Oh. Difeng secretly glanced at Lu Ming with a flash of killing intent. He then answered Wang Yan's question. Hidden killing intent? Then send more people to test the waters. You guys go. Wang Yan pointed at a few men of sacrifice who were carrying long swords on their backs. These men of sacrifice were not afraid of death at all. They were expressionless when they heard this. Two of them stepped forward and rushed into the canyon. The canyon was surrounded by clouds and mist. From a distance it was a blur. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment something shot out from both sides of the canyon, fast as lightning. Sword light flashed as the two men of sacrifice pulled out their swords and slashed out sword lights. To be honest, these death warriors had pretty good combat strength. They reached the peak 9th level spiritual ocean realm and instantly shattered those things. It looks like a tree root. Wang Yan's eyes narrowed. Lu Ming's expression changed. The things that rushed out from the two sides of the canyon did look like tree roots. Whoosh! As the two Dare to Die fighters pushed forward, more and more powerful attacks rushed out from both sides. Gradually, the two Dare to Die fighters couldn't resist them anymore, and were finally entangled by the endless tree root-like things. Those things that look like tree roots should be plant-type creatures. Let the Earth Death Warriors block them while we charge in, Wang Yan said. Difeng nodded. With a wave of his hand, a few men of sacrifice carrying large hammers rushed in. Tentacle-like things also reached out. The Death Warrior picked up the hammer and smashed it on the ground. Boom! A row of stone walls appeared on the ground, blocking the attack of the tentacles. Charge! At this moment Wang Yan, Difeng, Shishao, and the others all rushed in. It's a Death Warrior who has cultivated the Earth Essence realm. Lu Ming's eyes glimmered. These men of sacrifice with big hammers on their backs were all men of sacrifice who had cultivated the will of the earth. This made Lu Ming very tempted. If he devoured their will runes, his will of the earth would definitely be able to reach a higher level. By then, his cultivation would be able to improve further. Lu Ming took a step forward and rushed in. Whoosh! Whoosh! The walls on both sides of the canyon seemed to have come alive. Tentacle-like things kept extending from inside. They were tough and sharp, and they kept piercing through and winding around them. The Earth Death Warriors controlled the earth and blocked it with stone walls. With a wave of his hand, an endless amount of sword chi poured out, cutting off the tentacles one by one. As for Wang Yan, with a wave of his hand, terrifying flames spread out, turning those tentacles into ashes. As for the corpse puppet, it was more unique. It was as if it was not afraid of death. It charged forward and waved its hand. Those tentacles that came into contact with it were directly broken by it. This body, no, it's like a refined corpse. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He felt that the corpse puppet's body did not seem like a human body. Instead, it was like a refined corpse. It was extremely terrifying. Whoosh! A few tentacles tried to wrap around Lu Ming, but were broken by him with a wave of his hand. Bright red liquid flowed out of the tentacle. It really looks like a tree root. Lu Ming realized that these tentacles were similar to tree roots, but they seemed to be alive. The deeper they went, the more roots there were. However, with everyone working together, including experts like Wang Yan, Corpse Puppet, and Lu Ming, they naturally had nothing to fear and continued to advance. All of a sudden, the roots on both sides retracted. They had reached the end of the canyon. Roar! Roar! In front of them, a few huge figures blocked their way. They were a few huge demonic beasts. No, they should be fierce beasts. In fact, there was no difference between demonic beasts and fierce beasts. However, after demonic beasts had more contact with humans, they would understand the human language and could take human form. On the other hand, ferocious beasts were more primitive beasts. They were fiercer and disdained to transform into human form. They had always maintained their beast appearance. 3 of them appeared before him. They were ferocious beasts, and they exuded a powerful aura. The first tier of the 7th level was equivalent to the aura of the first level of the spirit embryo realm. 3 class 1 level 7 fierce beasts. How about we take one each? The corpse puppet looked at Wang Yan and Lu Ming. All right. Lu Ming nodded. This is only fair. Wang Yan laughed coldly, as he secretly transmitted a message to Di Feng. When we make our move, you guys take the opportunity to rush in. There's most likely a treasure in this canyon. All right. Di Feng secretly replied. Kill. Suddenly, the corpse puppet and Lu Ming charged forward at the same time. The three beasts roared and charged at them. Wang Yan made his move as well, each of them taking on one. Lu Ming's opponent was a rat-like ferocious beast. It was pitch black and extremely fast. Its teeth, claws, and tail were all extremely powerful weapons. Whoosh! Whoosh! The rat's tail twitched like a soft whip, cutting through the space and making a sharp whistling sound. Lu Ming stepped forward and swung his fist, bombarding it with an overbearing force. Bang! His fist landed on the rat's tail and it almost exploded. The beast was in pain and let out a sharp cry. It clawed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw another punch. At this moment, Wang Yan and the corpse puppet were also engaged in battle with the other two beasts. Charge! Di Feng seized the opportunity and rushed in with his men. The other Heaven's favorites from the Sky Corpse sect and the Sky Demon Valley also rushed in. Boom! Lu Ming's punch landed heavily on the rat's claws. A violent force erupted wildly. The rat shrieked and was sent flying. Whoosh! Lu Ming caught up with him. A long spear appeared in his hand and he struck out. With a plop, it pierced through the rat's mouth and killed it. A first-grade 7th level beast was killed by Lu Ming with ease. Almost at the same time, Wang Yan and the corpse puppet also ended their battle and killed the demonic beasts. Although they hadn't entered the spirit embryo realm, their battle prowess was so strong that they could almost easily kill a first-level spirit embryo realm. Even if they faced an ordinary second-level spirit embryo realm, they wouldn't lose and might even win. Ah! Ah! At this moment, a few screams came from the valley. Wang Yan's expression changed as he rushed in. Lu Ming sneered and rushed in. Inside the canyon was a huge plot of land. It was very wide, and in front of it was a towering tree. It was very eye-catching. As for Di Feng and the others, they were surrounded by a few beasts. There were already a few corpses on the ground. There were 6 demonic beasts in total, and each of them had reached Class 1 Level 7. However, Lu Ming, Wang Yan, and the corpse puppet's attention was drawn to the large tree. On the tree there were 10 bright red fruits that exuded a mysterious aura. 1,000 elephant fruit. That's 1,000 elephant fruit. Wang Yan shouted, his eyes filled with greed. Lu Ming was also greatly shocked. It was actually 1,000 elephant fruit. It was a magical fruit that could transform the will of nature into anything. If a warrior swallowed it, the fruit would transform into the will of nature that he or she wanted to understand. It could make the warrior's will of heaven and earth improve by leaps and bounds, and even break through the bottleneck. Chapter 906. 906 The Giant Ape of the Demon Clan. If the essence realm of heaven and earth was at the completion of level 2, there was a high chance that it could break through to level 3 after swallowing the all-creation fruit. Oh, swallowing it after level 3 could also allow one's intent to have great progress. Such a rare treasure was almost impossible to find in the outside world. He didn't expect to encounter it here. I must get it. Lu Ming roared in his heart. The nature manifestation fruit was too important to him. Without any hesitation, Lu Ming soared into the sky and pounced toward the nature manifestation fruit. At the same time, Wang Yan and the corpse puppet also soared into the sky. Get lost. The 1,000 elephant fruit is mine. Wang Yan roared. With his flames boiling, he threw 2 consecutive punches at Lu Ming and the corpse puppet. The corpse puppet also launched 2 attacks at Lu Ming and Wang Yan. They both wanted to stop each other and get the nature manifestation fruit for themselves. You're the ones who should get lost. Lu Ming activated the prison-suppressing heavenly art and threw 2 punches at Wang Yan and the corpse puppet. The 3 of them retreated at the same time. In the next moment, Lu Ming waved his hand and 2 huge puppets appeared. They charged at Wang Yan and the corpse puppet. The 2 puppets emitted a powerful aura. The 2 puppets were both at Class 1 Level 7. Lu Ming had bought it from the Talisman Amulet Sex Treasure Pavilion before the Battle of Providence. It was meant to be used at a critical moment. With his current mental strength, he had more than enough to control a first-grade 7th-level puppet. Damn it, it's a puppet. You're an inscriber. Wang Yan was shocked and furious. He launched a violent attack at the puppet. The corpse puppet was in a similar situation. Its palm was like a blade as it slashed at the puppet. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he appeared on the big tree. With a wave of his hand, he put away the 10,000 elephant fruits. Don't even think about it. Corpse puppet, let's join forces and kill Lu Ming. Wang Yan let out a long howl, his killing intent surging like the tide. All right, let's join forces. The killing intent in the corpse puppet's eyes was also extremely cold. The nature manifestation fruit. Lu Ming actually wanted to keep the nature manifestation fruit for himself. How was that possible? Bang! Bang! The two puppets of the first class of the 7th rank were unable to hold Wang Yan and the corpse puppet back for long. Under the violent attacks of the two, their bodies were deformed and they lost their ability to fight. However, this was enough. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he rushed out of the canyon. Lu Ming was about to rush out. Stay here. At this moment, a huge figure rushed in from outside the canyon. He let out a furious roar and a huge black fist was aimed at Lu Ming. The fist was the size of a water tank. Before the fist arrived, the terrifying pressure brought about by the fist made it difficult for Lu Ming to breathe. This was very sudden. Lu Ming wanted to avoid it, but it was too late. Without thinking, Lu Ming threw a punch. Lu Ming used all his strength in this punch, erupting the strongest power of the prison-suppressing heaven art. He did not care about the huge consumption of his essential core because this punch put him in serious danger. Boom! Lu Ming's fist collided with the huge jet-black fist. In an instant, Lu Ming felt an unimaginably huge force surging towards him. His body was sent flying backward like a cannonball, crashing heavily into the big tree. Bang! The big tree exploded, and pieces of wood flew everywhere. A burly figure appeared in front of everyone. It was a giant ape that was 10 meters tall. Its entire body was pitch black, and it shone with a metallic luster. This was a genius of the Sky Demon Valley. He had the bloodline of the ancient giant ape and was extremely powerful. He had definitely reached level 7. It wasn't even at the first grade of the 7th level, but above it. Hand over the 1,000 elephant fruit. The giant ape roared in anger and charged at Lu Ming with its huge palm. Bang! Pieces of wood flew everywhere as Lu Ming soared into the sky. At the same time, he waved his hand and a huge puppet appeared in front of the giant ape. Bang! The giant ape's palm smashed the first-grade 7th-level puppet into pieces. However, this block gave Lu Ming a chance to catch his breath. With the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps, Lu Ming dashed out of the canyon. Stay here. Wang Yan and the corpse puppet attacked at the same time, blocking Lu Ming and unleashing their strongest attack. The giant ape charged from behind. Lu Ming's expression changed. He made a sharp turn halfway and changed his direction, charging toward the 5 to 6 beasts. The 5 or 6 beasts were chasing after Difeng and the others. At this moment, Difeng was in a very miserable state. Those who had come in had already been killed by the 5 or 6 demonic beasts. Only Difeng and 1 or 2 other Heaven's Pride experts were still running for their lives. Difeng was shocked when he saw Lu Ming charging at him. He instinctively slashed out with his sword. Bang! Lu Ming threw out a punch, easily destroying Difeng's sword gleam and landing a punch on his chest. Difeng screamed as his body was sent flying. He was caught by one of the pursuing beasts and was torn in half. The pitiful Difeng, the 101st on the list of top 1,000 talents, had died in the claws of a beast. After the beast tore Difeng apart, it went berserk and pounced at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure changed and he dodged the beast's pounce. The giant ape caught up from behind and punched out with its huge fist, killing all the beasts. Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps, and his body flashed continuously. At the same time, he secretly released devouring power and devoured the blood essence energy of the corpses on the ground. At this moment, Lu Ming led the giant ape in a circle around the plot of land before he dashed toward the entrance of the canyon. However, at the entrance of the canyon, Wang Yan and the corpse puppet blocked it with cold expressions. Lu Ming, hand over the nature manifestation fruit and I'll let you go. You're taking it all for yourself. Don't you think you're too greedy? Wang Yan sneered. That's right. Let's split the nature manifestation fruit evenly. If we join forces, we might be able to fight this giant ape. The corpse puppet also spoke. You all have to die. The giant ape's furious roar was extremely violent. Is that so? Lu Ming charged straight at Wang Yan and the corpse puppet. Don't even think about breaking out. Wang Yan and the corpse puppet joined forces and attacked. Bang! At this moment, Lu Ming took a heavy step forward. The ground in the canyon was suddenly filled with multicolored light as formations emerged one after another. Although Lu Ming was running just now, he did not run around randomly. With every step he took, he secretly laid an inscription on the ground. The formation he had set up was naturally extraordinary. It was a level 7 formation. Endless sword light rose and attacked the giant ape from all directions. The giant ape waved its iron fist and scattered the sword chi one by one. However, more sword chi shot toward the giant ape and it was blocked. A formation? When did you set up the formation? Wang Yan and the corpse puppet were both extremely shocked. They did not realize that Lu Ming had set up an array without them knowing. Kill! Lu Ming shouted coldly. He took a step forward and a formation appeared on the ground. A terrifying sword radiance enveloped Wang Yan and the corpse puppet. Their expressions changed drastically. They could sense a terrifying aura from the sword light, an aura that could kill them. They had already made their move. It was too late to retreat now. Die! Wang Yan roared as his extreme purple heavenly fire bloodline appeared instantly. Just as the sword light was about to reach him, he transformed into flames. At this moment, the sword light descended and crushed the flames into pieces. Chapter 907. 907 Peak 9th Level Spiritual Ocean Realm. However, after flying for some distance, these shattered flames actually condensed back together, once again transforming into Wang Yan's appearance. However, his face was deathly pale without a trace of blood. His body was covered with over a dozen sword wounds, blood flowing out of them. It was a terrible sight. Oh, let's go. Wang Yan did not dare to stay any longer. He turned into a streak of fire and rushed out of the canyon in a sorry state. Compared to Wang Yan, the corpse puppet was in an even worse state. Although it had used all its means, one of its arms had still been cut off. It screeched as it escaped from the canyon. Boom! Boom! In the canyon, the giant ape continued to clash with the formation. This giant ape's strength was truly astonishing. It was incomparably powerful, and with every punch, a large amount of sword chi was shattered. Even if a few sword chi occasionally struck the giant ape, they could only leave shallow marks on its surface. This giant ape has at least 50% of the ancient giant ape's bloodline. Its body is extremely strong. This formation won't be able to hold it back for long. I'd better leave first. With a flash of thought, Lu Ming stepped into the void, his body like a stream of light, leaving the place. As expected, not long after Lu Ming left, the formation collapsed with a loud bang. The giant ape rushed out and let out an angry roar. Then it turned into a burly young man with killing intent in his eyes. He growled, "Lu Ming, I'll kill you." With that, he strode out of the canyon. Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps and was extremely fast. After leaving the canyon, he chose a random direction and went forward. Not long after, he had traveled more than 100,000 miles and found a hidden mountain forest. He flew down and set up an array in the surroundings. Lu Ming began to refine the energy. Previously, Lu Ming had devoured the blood essence and energy of the paragons, men of sacrifice, and even the demonic beasts who had died in the canyon. He circulated the bloodline of the 9 dragons and continued to refine it. I have the most earth and wind concepts. The other concepts are useless to me. Lu Ming had an idea. He directly removed the useless concepts and made the earth and wind concepts his own. Most of the earth and wind concepts came from the death warriors. Those men of sacrifice with big hammers cultivated the earth mentality, and those with long swords mostly cultivated the wind mentality. Lu Ming's earth and wind concepts were rapidly improving. Soon his wind concept reached its limit, and he was only one step away from level 3. As for the earth concept, it had also reached the peak of level 2 upper tier. As his intent realm improved, the true essence and other energies were also being refined and transformed into true essence. Lu Ming's cultivation started to increase. Not long after, the aura on his body grew, and he broke through to the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm in one go. Furthermore, it continued to increase all the way to the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm before it stopped. It had been upgraded by one level in one go. There are impurities in my true yuan and distracting thoughts in my intent realm. Suddenly Lu Ming frowned. He could feel that his true yuan and intent weren't pure. There were some obstacles when he tried to use them. Although the obstacles were weak, if this continued it would be a big problem. I know. Other people's Zhen yuan and blood all have their own characteristics. I refined them, but there are still some of them left. It's even more so for the will. Every will that I comprehend has a distinct will. After I refine them, there are still some of them left. This is very normal. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and discovered the problem. He thought of his early days, when he often relied on devouring blood essence to improve his cultivation. Similarly, this would cause his cultivation foundation to be unstable, and he would need time to consolidate it. Later on, he used all his blood essence to improve his bloodline, and relied on devouring spiritual crystals and raw stones to improve his cultivation. He no longer had to worry about this. Spiritual crystals and raw gemstones were all natural and extremely pure. It seems like I'll have to stop wasting time to cultivate every time I advance to the next realm. I'll have to purify my true yuan and intent realm to stabilize my foundation. Lu Ming pondered. Of course, Lu Ming would not abandon the heaven-defying function of the 9 dragons bloodline just because of this small flaw. At most, he would just spend more time to stabilize it. Lu Ming closed his eyes and began to condense his essential core and polish his artistic conception. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. Lu Ming's essential core and concept had become pure and condensed again. The wind concept seems to be showing signs of a breakthrough. The concept was pure. Lu Ming could feel that the wind concept seemed to have touched a wonderful realm. Lu Ming immediately continued cultivating. Time passed day by day. In a canyon tens of thousands of miles away from Lu Ming, a shocking flame suddenly soared into the sky and a figure appeared in the flame. This figure was Wang Yan. Ha ha ha, I've finally broken through to the spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming, the next time I see you will be the day of your death. Wang Yan laughed out loud, his aura extremely terrifying. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. After being injured by Lu Ming previously, not only had he fully recovered after more than 10 days, but he had also broken through to the spirit embryo realm in one fell swoop, causing his strength to skyrocket. That Lu Ming will definitely go to some strange places nearby to look for opportunities. This place is the closest to the Double Moon Mountain. I'll go to the Double Moon Mountain and stop him halfway. With that, Wang Yan's figure flickered and he disappeared without a trace. In a dark cave, corpse chi suddenly filled the air. The corpse puppet, carrying an ancient coffin, stepped out of the cave. Previously, Lu Ming had used an array formation to cut off his arm. However, the shocking thing was that the corpse puppet's arm was now intact, as if it had grown back. Furthermore, the aura on its body was extremely powerful. It was also the aura of the spirit embryo realm. That Lu Ming will definitely go to some secret places to seek opportunities. This place is the closest to the Divine Bird Cliff. I'll go to the Divine Bird Cliff to stop him. After saying that, the corpse puppet stepped out and disappeared into the sky. At an unknown distance away from Lu Ming, there was a magnificent city. The city was filled with three-eyed gods. And NBSP, within a massive palace, a few three-eyed gods were currently discussing some matters. These three-eyed gods were all tall and sturdy, and their auras were powerful. It's been another 20 years, and another group of young people has come from the outside world to hunt down my clan. Damn it, they really think of my clan as a trial. An NBSP die. A furious roar came from one of the three-eyed god race members. Below, many of the three-eyed gods were trembling in fear, not daring to say a word. According to the ancient records in the outside world, our tribe is unrivaled, and the human tribe is nothing more than our tribe's food. However, our ancestors were captured and brought here, and they made our tribe into the training targets of the human youth. This is absolutely not allowed. I will kill them all, not leaving a single one alive. Pass down my order. All the region should organize an army to capture and kill those human youths. Once they are found, kill them without mercy. The three-eyed god above ordered. Yes. And NBSP, yes, your majesty. The other three-eyed god race members also began to follow his orders. Naturally, Lu Ming was unaware of all these. He was still cultivating. In the blink of an eye, another 10 days had passed. Lu Ming had been in closed-door cultivation for 20 days. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes and a faint smile appeared on his face. The concept of wind had successfully broken through to the third level. This was Lu Ming's first step towards the spirit embryo realm. It's been 20 days. The next step is to continue searching for those strange places and opportunities to obtain more fate value. Lu Ming thought. Chapter 908. 908 Paragons everywhere. With a thought, the Book of Destiny appeared. Oh! Lu Ming's current luck value had become 2,500 points. This should be the increase from the 10,000 elephant fruits he seized last time. It had increased by more than 2,000 points. From this, it could be seen how amazing the amount of fate value one could obtain by searching for strange places and seizing opportunities. With a single thought, the Book of Destiny disappeared. Lu Ming took out the map that he had obtained from the three-eyed god and studied it. Within a radius of 100,000 miles, only the Double Moon Mountain and the Divine Bird Cliff are strange. It's very likely that there are treasures or opportunities inside. Lu Ming looked at the map for a while and kept it. Let's go to the Divine Bird Cliff and take a look first. Lu Ming randomly chose a place and flew towards the Divine Bird Cliff according to the marks on the map. The journey of tens of thousands of miles was soon completed. In front of them was a huge cliff that reached into the clouds. They could see it from far away. It was the Divine Bird Cliff. Lu Ming was about to fly over when two powerful auras burst out from the Divine Bird Cliff. Boom! With a loud boom, a figure rushed into the sky, his corpse chi billowing. Corpse puppet, he has broken through to the spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming's expression changed. He immediately restrained his aura and landed in the forest below to watch from a distance. At this moment, the corpse puppet's face carried a trace of fear and appeared to be in a sorry state. Corpse puppet, die. A domineering voice was heard, and demonic chi soared into the sky. A young man in a black robe appeared and blocked in front of the corpse puppet. This youth's eyes were cold and his demonic chi was monstrous. His aura was much stronger than a corpse puppet that had reached the spirit embryo realm. Luoli, don't you go too far. The corpse puppet roared. Luoli, little demon lord Luoli. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he looked solemn. There were two supreme geniuses among the imperial guards of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, and they were blood brothers. Demon Lord Luotian, Little Demon Lord Luoli, and Demon Lord Luotian. Their talents were monstrous and extremely terrifying. They were ranked 10th on the list of top 1,000 talents. As for the Little Demon Lord Luoli, he was not as talented, but he was still very terrifying. He was ranked 61st on the list of top 1,000 talents. Ha, what a joke. Weaklings can only say such words. So what if I'm bullying you? Today you will die. The luck value on your body belongs to me. Ha. Luoli laughed as the black mist around him churned. His demonic might was extremely powerful. He took a step forward, and his demonic might completely enveloped the corpse puppet, turning it into a demonic territory. Charge! The corpse puppet didn't dare to fight back. Its corpse chi burst out and formed a sword light, trying to break through the demonic power and escape. Die! Die! Luoli shouted coldly as a black light burst out. The stunning blade light seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth apart. It was unparalleled and unstoppable. The corpse puppet couldn't even block a single blade. Its head was chopped off, and its corpse fell to the ground. However, the ancient coffin on the corpse puppet's back trembled and flew into the distance at an extreme speed. The human corpse transformation technique is useless in front of me. A cold voice came out of Luo Li's mouth. A blade light cut through the void and struck the ancient coffin. The ancient coffin exploded, and a skinny figure emerged from it. He was panicking and fleeing for his life. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. This was the true body of the corpse puppet. The one before was just his refined corpse. However, the refined corpse was actually no different from a human. It could open its mouth and communicate with people, which was really amazing. A saber light slashed at the corpse puppet again. No! The corpse puppet roared, and in the next moment, it was directly cut in half by the saber light. The corpse puppet, ranked 96th on the list of top 1,000 talents, had been killed just like that. It was clear how brutal the battle of destiny was. This was only the beginning, and it would only get more brutal as time went on. It wasn't an exaggeration to call it the burial ground of the top talents. After Luo Li killed the corpse puppet, he waved his hand and kept the storage ring. Then, he looked in Lu Ming's direction with his demonic eyes. Lu Ming's expression changed. Could it be that he was discovered by Luo Li despite being so far away? However, Aro Li only took a glance and sneered. He then shifted his gaze and descended toward the Divine Bird Cliff. It seems like we can't go to the Divine Bird Cliff. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. Ro Li's cultivation base was too strong. Compared to him, he was far behind, so he could only avoid him. He turned around quietly and headed in the direction of the Double Moon Mountain. Not long after, they were only a few thousand miles away from the Double Moon Mountain. Lu Ming concealed his aura and slowly approached. Who knew if there were any powerful geniuses on the Double Moon Mountain? Lu Ming had to be more careful. Boom! All of a sudden, a purple flame shot up into the sky from below and blasted toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression changed. He took a step back and retreated rapidly, avoiding the attack. A figure appeared in front of Lu Ming. Wang Yan. Lu Ming's expression changed. He realized that the aura on Wang Yan's body was extremely terrifying. It was not the aura of the spiritual ocean tier, but the spirit embryo tier. Wang Yan had also broken through to the spirit embryo realm. For a genius like Wang Yan to break through from the spiritual ocean tier to the spirit embryo tier, it was definitely not just a little bit of improvement. His battle prowess would skyrocket. Lu Ming, let's see how you die this time. Wang Yan's eyes were as cold as ice. Previously, he was severely injured by Lu Ming and almost died. He hated Lu Ming to the core. A mere piece of trash dared to seriously injure him. This was simply unforgivable. The flames on his body were several times more terrifying than they were 20 days ago. The temperature was so high that even the space began to distort. Even from a distance, Lu Ming could feel a sharp pain in his body, as if his entire body was on fire. Whoosh! In a flash, Wang Yan crossed the void and appeared in front of Lu Ming. He threw a punch at Lu Ming. A dragon's roar resounded. Lu Ming did not hold back at all and instantly exploded with all his dragon energy. Four streams of dragon energy exploded. The vital essence in his body roared and 4 types of concepts swirled around. He activated the prison-suppressing heavenly art and threw a punch. Boom! A beam of fire soared into the sky and Lu Ming's body was sent flying. Blood spurted out of his mouth and he felt a sharp pain on his arm. The dragon scales were cracked by the flames and the surface of his arm was charred black. The fragrance of roasted meat wafted out. Too powerful. Wang Yan's battle prowess had increased by too much after breaking through to the spirit embryo realm. Even though Lu Ming's cultivation had risen to the peak 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm during this period of time, he was still far from being Wang Yan's match. His breakthrough was only a small breakthrough, while Wang Yan's was a huge breakthrough. It was incomparable. If Lu Ming had not broken through, he would not have been able to withstand a single punch and would have been seriously injured. I'm not his match right now. Let's go. Lu Ming turned around and cast the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps. He turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the distance. It's not that easy to escape. You must die today. Die! Wang Yan roared and turned into a flash of fire, chasing after Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. However, in terms of speed, Lu Ming was still faster. The distance between the two of them was slowly widening. Damn it! Wang Yan roared. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. In front of him, an extremely sharp ray of light pierced through the air and flew toward Lu Ming. Chapter 909. 909 Trapped. It was a young man in black. His entire body was like a peerless divine weapon. Oh! Jiang Taichung. Lu Ming's pupils suddenly constricted. Jiang Taichung's rank on the list of top 1,000 talents was higher than Wang Yan's. He was ranked 92nd, and his combat strength was even more terrifying. Lu Ming had never expected to meet Jiang Taichung here. Could not be such a coincidence. It was highly possible that Jiang Taichung had met Wang Yan a long time ago, and was lying in ambush in the nearby area, waiting for Lu Ming. Haha, Lu Ming. Let's see how you're going to run. Wang Yan laughed excitedly. Lu Ming, die. Jiang Taichung's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He swung his arm in the air, and a terrifying sword light came slashing at Lu Ming. With Jiang Taichung at the front and Wang Yan at the back, Lu Ming was in a desperate situation. With a wave of his hand, a puppet of the first grade of the 7th level pounced forward and was directly cut in half by Jiang Taichung's sword light. Jiang Taichung's combat strength was stronger than Wang Yan's. I can only risk it all. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. The 9-dragon bloodline emerged and Lu Ming used the bloodline fusion to transform into 9 dragons, which charged madly at Wang Yan. Roar! The 9 dragons roared as a terrifying devouring power erupted and enveloped Wang Yan. At the same time, 9 dragon claws stepped out in succession. The 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Transforming into the 9 dragons and using the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps was the purest form of the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps, and its power could be maximized. With 6 consecutive steps, a terrifying force was blasted towards Wang Yan. You want to break through from my side? Laughable. Die. Wang Yan's entire body was ablaze with flames as he sent out a terrifying flaming fist radiance. Boom! An earth-shattering boom rang out as the flaming fist radiance dispersed the power of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. However, the remaining power had already been reduced by a lot. When it landed on the bodies of the 9 dragons, their bodies trembled, but they did not care and continued to pounce towards Wang Yan. You're looking for death. Wang Yan threw another punch. However, Lu Ming did not care about this punch. His dragon claw stepped in the air and he took another 6 steps. A powerful force blasted towards Wang Yan. It was a fight where he would risk his life. Boom! The terrifying fist force hit the bodies of the 9 dragons. In an instant the scales exploded and blood and flesh flew everywhere. A huge wound was blown on the bodies of the 9 dragons, and the hot flame force kept rushing into the wound. However, the power of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps also slammed down on Wang Yan. Wang Yan's expression changed as he was forced to retreat by the power of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Buzz! Buzz! The 9 claws of the 9 dragons stomped on the void. This time it was extremely fast. The huge dragon body instantly turned into a stream of light, rushing past Wang Yan's head and flying towards the direction of Double Moon Mountain. Damn it! Chase! Wang Yan roared and chased after Lu Ming. Jiang Taichung did the same. One chasing and one escaping, the distance of thousands of miles was crossed in an instant. The Double Moon Mountain was right in front of them. There is indeed a powerful formation on the Double Moon Mountain. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The Double Moon Mountain was formed by 2 mountain peaks that intersected like 2 moons. At the intersection of the 2 mountain peaks, there was a huge stone door that seemed to be a cave. However, the area in front of the stone gate was filled with formations. Previously, he had heard the 3-eyed god race mention the Double Moon Mountain briefly. The 3-eyed god race did not know about formations, but from his words, Lu Ming could tell that there was a formation set up in front of the Double Moon Mountain. Therefore, Lu Ming rushed over. With the array, it was Lu Ming's chance. Buzz! Lu Ming transformed back into his human form and rushed towards the Double Moon Mountain. After he charged in, his figure constantly flickered, sometimes left and sometimes right, slowly moving forward. Buzz! Buzz! In the next moment, Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong had arrived. After the two of them arrived, they stopped with unsightly expressions. They had arrived a few days ago and already knew that there was a formation here. This little bastard is proficient in the Tao of inscription. This formation can't stop him. Wang Yan's expression was extremely ugly. Watch me break it. Jiang Taichong strode forward, and a formation emerged on the ground at once. Saber lights that looked like crescent moons slashed toward Jiang Taichong. Jiang Taichong's palm kept slashing out. The sharp and terrifying sword light kept colliding with the crescent-shaped saber light. Buzz! Buzz! The sound of metal clashing rang out. After a while, Jiang Taichong returned with no success and retreated with an ugly expression. He could not rush in at all. At this moment, Lu Ming had already passed through the layers of inscription arrays and arrived at an open space in front. There was no formation in the innermost area. If you have the ability, then come in. Lu Ming turned around and looked at Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong with a cold smile. Damn it! Wang Yan bellowed. Unfortunately, there was a formation in the air, so they couldn't get in. Lu Ming sneered. He sat cross-legged and began to recuperate. Earlier on, he had transformed into the 9 dragons and received Wang Yan's punch head-on. However, he was still injured, and his injuries were rather serious. He needed to recuperate as soon as possible. Circulating his War Dragon True Vitality, Lu Ming began to heal his injured body. Outside, Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong's faces were extremely gloomy. Lu Ming was actually recuperating in front of them. This almost made the two of them explode in anger. The array here has been around for many years and it's not very powerful. We just have to keep bombarding it and deplete the energy of the array. When the energy of the array is depleted, we can rush in and kill Lu Ming. Jiang Taichong took a deep breath to calm himself down and analyzed. Wang Yan's eyes lit up as he said happily, Not bad, not bad. The formation here isn't particularly strong. We can definitely withstand it. As long as we keep bombarding it, we'll definitely be able to break it. Let's start. Jiang Taichong nodded. Boom! Boom! The two of them burst out with powerful auras and stepped forward at the same time, entering the area of the array. Immediately, a formation appeared, and countless crescent blade lights condensed and slashed toward the two. The two launched their attacks, clashing with the crescent blade lights. Lu Ming opened his eyes and took a look outside. He then closed his eyes again and began to recuperate. He naturally understood Jiang Taichong and Wang Yan's plan. However, at this moment he could only recuperate first before thinking about other things. After a day and a night, Lu Ming's injuries had fully recovered. At this moment, Jiang Taichong and Wang Yan rested for a while before continuing to crack the formation. Lu Ming stood up and walked towards the stone door that was located at the intersection of the two mountains. Damn it! Seeing this, Wang Yan roared in anger. It doesn't matter. We'll block him from the outside. Even if he gets the opportunity, he won't be able to escape from our hands in the end. Jiang Taichong was much calmer than Wang Yan as he spoke. Wang Yan also calmed down and continued to break the formation. Lu Ming walked to the stone door, stretched out his hands, pressed on the stone door, and gave it a hard push. It didn't move at all. The stone door didn't move at all. Lu Ming stepped back, then took a step forward and punched the stone door. Boom! It was as if the entire earth was shaking, but the stone door still did not move or be blown open. It's so hard. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Chapter 910. 910 Breaking Through to Become a Level 7 Alchemist. Just now, he had already used 100% of his Zhen Yuan and used the prison-suppressing heaven technique. However, his punch did not break the stone door. This stone door was frighteningly hard. Oh! The next moment, Lu Ming directly exploded his dragon power. Scales appeared on his body and his muscles bulged. He was filled with explosive power. Boom! A heavy punch landed on the stone door, causing it to shake violently. The two mountains beside the stone door also shook violently, but in the end, the stone door remained intact. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming was like a ferocious beast in human form. He punched the stone door several times in a row, but he still could not break it open. It's too hard. With my cultivation level, there's still a gap. I can't break it. Lu Ming frowned. Ha ha ha, the heavens are really helping me. I'd better wait for my death outside. Seeing this, Wang Yan laughed arrogantly. Jiang Taichong also revealed a smile. Lu Ming frowned. He turned around and stopped attacking the stone door. Instead, he started to inscribe an array on the empty space. Humph, you want to inscribe a formation to protect yourself? Dream on. Wang Yan sneered. Since they had seen it, they would definitely be more careful in the future. They would not enter Lu Ming's array easily. Lu Ming spent 3 hours setting up a large array. He then stopped. Indeed, Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong had both seen him inscribing a formation here. No matter how powerful the formation he had inscribed was, Wang Chong and Jiang Taishi would not be fooled into walking in. Therefore, the array that he had just carved was not a powerful killing array at all. Instead, it was an array that assisted in the cultivation of mental fire. The only way out now was strength. As long as he had enough strength, he would not need to fear Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong. Therefore, he could only break through on his own. However, Lu Ming's current martial arts cultivation was only at the peak 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm. There was still the perfected spiritual ocean realm above him. He would only be able to break through to the spirit embryo realm if he went further. It was almost impossible to break through in a short time. Lu Ming estimated that the array at Double Moon Mountain could only hold Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong back for 5 days at most. It was almost impossible to break through to the spirit embryo realm in 5 days. Now, only the Tao of Inscription could make it possible. Initially, Lu Ming had already lit up 10 blue spirit lamps. He was only 1 step away from becoming a 7th-level alchemist. As long as his inscription Tao reached level 7, Lu Ming's strength would increase greatly. By then, he would be able to contend or even kill Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong with his inscription Tao. Originally, it wasn't the time for a breakthrough yet. It wasn't perfect yet and needed to cultivate for a period of time before it could naturally break through. However, he could not care so much now. Lu Ming had to use some means and strive to break through within 5 days. He sat down cross-legged and took out a pill. Lu Ming had bought the Spirit Enrage pill from the Talisman Amulet Sex Treasure Pavilion. Consuming this pill would cause one's mental energy fire to go berserk. It could increase one's mental energy fire for a short period of time, and from there, achieve the effect of breaking through to the next realm. However, there was a risk here. If he failed to break through to the next realm, it might cause a few of his mental lamps to go out, and it would be very difficult to cultivate back later. Even if he succeeded in breaking through, his foundation would still be unstable, which would affect his future cultivation. He would need to spend time to make up for it. But now he couldn't care so much. He had to get through the difficulties in front of him. Lu Ming had to break through to the next realm within 5 days. Lu Ming swallowed the violent spirit pill without hesitation. He then activated the meditation and started cultivating. In his sea of consciousness, his mental energy fire started to go berserk and burned even more vigorously. On the ground, the array glowed. This kind of array could also allow the mental energy fire to erupt with even more power. Time passed quickly. 1 day, 2 days. In the blink of an eye, 4 days had passed. In Lu Ming's sea of consciousness, the mental energy fire was already abnormally violent, and was about to turn into an angry dragon. As the mind fire went on a rampage, the flames of the 10 mind lamps began to merge and condense into a ball that burned fiercely. Now he had to make the blue mental fire turn purple. Once it turned purple, it meant that he had broken through to become a 7th-rank alchemist. Time flew by quickly, minute by minute. Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong continued to bombard those formations, but they were broken one by one. They were about to break through the formation and enter. This kid knows that he can't escape and is waiting for death. Wang Yan sneered. Be careful later. This brat might counterattack before he dies. Jiang Taichung said. What are you afraid of? No matter how he counterattacks, he's still a spiritual ocean-tier martial artist, so what threat can he be to us? Wang Yan sneered. Jiang Taichung also nodded. It was indeed so. They were all geniuses among geniuses. It was common for them to jump levels and kill others. Moreover, they were now in a higher realm than Lu Ming. No one could defeat them when they were in a higher realm. They were constantly bombarding the array. Lu Ming had also reached a critical point in his cultivation. In his sea of consciousness, the mental energy fire continued to condense and shrink. Slowly, when it had shrunk to its limit, a wisp of purple light spread out. A small purple spirit fire was burning slowly on the first spirit lamp. It looked small and was not burning hot, but the spirit power that it emitted was 10 times stronger than before. The purple mind fire has finally broken through. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. He now felt that as long as he willed it, a vast amount of spiritual power would be released. It seems that they haven't broken through the array. Let's wait for them. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He closed his eyes and activated the meditation to consolidate his cultivation. After half a day there was a loud boom. Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung finally broke through the formation and stood dozens of meters away from Lu Ming. However, they did not immediately pounce on Lu Ming because they had seen him inscribe a large formation. At this moment Lu Ming opened his eyes and slowly got up. Lu Ming, your time of death has arrived. Wang Yan revealed a sinister smile. Oh really? If you have the ability, come and kill me. Lu Ming revealed a contemptuous smile. Humph, do you think that you can be safe just because you inscribed a formation? I'll break it. Wang Yan took a step forward and a stream of flames surged towards Lu Ming along the ground. The flames passed through without any obstruction. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he avoided the flame. Wang Yan was slightly taken aback, but he immediately burst out laughing. So you're just trying to be mysterious. You don't even have a formation. Die. With that, Wang Yan's figure flickered as he pounced on Lu Ming. Jiang Taichung did not move. Instead, he guarded the surroundings to prevent any changes or to prevent Lu Ming from escaping. A dragon's roar resounded as Lu Ming burst forth with his dragon energy and threw a punch at Wang Yan. With a loud boom, Lu Ming was sent flying backward. He spat out a mouthful of blood and stomped on the ground. Haha, die! Wang Yan laughed out loud as the terrifying flames surged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he rushed to one side, looking like he wanted to escape. However, Jiang Taichung moved and blocked Lu Ming. Chapter 911. 911 Killing two great geniuses. Jiang Taichung stood in front of Lu Ming and Wang Yan rushed up from behind. Oh! Lu Ming had nowhere to run. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's expression was extremely calm. In fact, there was even a flash of killing intent. Something's wrong. For some reason, Jiang Taichung's heart suddenly jumped. He had an inexplicable sense of crisis, but he could not figure out where the sense of crisis came from. Lu Ming? Impossible. Lu Ming's cultivation level was not their match at all. Wang Yan was already closing in. At this moment, Lu Ming took a heavy step forward. Dense inscriptions appeared on the ground and a few large arrays appeared. You want to deal with us by instantly setting up a formation? Dream on. Wang Yan laughed coldly, but in the next moment, his expression changed drastically. No, this is a level 7 formation technique. How could you inscribe a level 7 formation technique in an instant? Wang Yan cried out in disbelief. An ordinary rank 7 alchemist could not inscribe a rank 7 formation in an instant. Only a rank 7 alchemist with profound spiritual power could do it. How could Lu Ming do it? Not good, retreat. Jiang Taichung's expression changed drastically, and he was about to retreat. However, it was already too late. The formation glowed and golden vines condensed and wrapped around Jiang Taichung and Wang Yan. Break! An extremely sharp aura emanated from Jiang Taichung's body. With a wave of his hand, sharp sword qi burst out and cut at the vines. However, he was only able to cut off a few vines. These vines were called golden vines and were formed by a level 7 primary formation technique. They were extremely tough and were impervious to fire and water. Wang Yan roared in anger as flames spread out in an attempt to incinerate the vines. Although he could do so, the speed was extremely slow. The two of them were entangled for a while. Lu Ming sneered and continued to inscribe the array. Countless inscriptions glowed on his feet and palms. Purple mental energy fire danced between his eyebrows. A 7th-rank alchemist. He's a 7th-rank alchemist. He has to get out. Jiang Taichung roared in horror and attacked with all his might. The vines were cut off one by one. A few golden vines array could not completely trap Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung, but Lu Ming's purpose was to stop them for a while, and that was enough. Buzz! On the ground, another formation appeared. This time it was a level 7 intermediate array, the frost hunting array. Formations were generally divided into elementary, intermediate, advanced, and peak. For example, a level 7 primary array was sufficient to deal with martial artists of the 1st to 3rd level of the spirit embryo realm. If used well, it could kill a 3rd level spirit embryo realm martial artist. However, although Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung were only at the 1st level of the spirit embryo realm, their combat strength was enough to kill a 4th level spirit embryo realm cultivator. An elementary level 7 formation technique was not of much use to them. However, it was a different story for a grade 7 intermediate formation. A middle grade level 7 formation technique was able to deal with experts at the 4th to 6th level of the spirit embryo realm. However, although Lu Ming's mental energy was extremely dense and far exceeded that of an inscriber of the same level, he had just broken through to level 7. It was still impossible for him to inscribe a level 7 intermediate array in an instant. He would need some time. The time that the golden vine array had blocked Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung was enough for him to inscribe a level 7 middle array. Whoosh! Whoosh! Tulavir long spears made of ice appeared, exuding an extremely cold aura. They pierced through the air and headed toward Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung respectively. Boom! Wang Yan punched out with both fists, and a terrifying flame spread out, trying to melt the ice spear. However, to his shock, the ice spear only shrank a little after piercing through the blazing fist force and continued on its way towards Wang Yan. On the other hand, Jiang Taichung spared no effort to hack at the ice spear. Although he managed to block it in the end, it was still very difficult. A layer of white frost appeared on his body, and he trembled all over as if he was about to be frozen. Whoosh! Whoosh! To their despair, more ice spears were formed. This time there were 24 of them. Each of them had 12 roots and they went for the kill. The two of them tried their best to block, but the power of the ice spears was too terrifying. Although they managed to block it, they were both injured. But then more ice spears appeared. Ah! Ah! Following that, two desperate screams rang out. Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung's bodies were pierced by a few ice spears respectively. Their bodies stiffened as they were frozen to the spot. No, don't kill me! Wang Yan cried out in fear. Although the Battle of Providence was dangerous, it was full of opportunities. No one had participated in the Battle of Providence, as they were all here to die. They all wanted to obtain great opportunities and boundless providence. Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung were naturally the same. They wanted to obtain a great opportunity in the Battle of Providence, obtain great providence, stand out from it, and surpass those stronger geniuses. How could they have thought that they were going to die less than a month after the Battle of Providence had started? How could they be willing? Wang Yan, have you forgotten what I said? I said I will kill you. Lu Ming's cold voice was heard. With a wave of his hand, the ice spear appeared and he struck again. No, no! Wang Yan and Jiang Taichung screamed in fear and madness, but they could not change the outcome. The ice spear pierced through the foreheads of the two. Then the bloodline of the 9 dragons appeared. The devouring power burst out and devoured the two. It didn't take long for the refinement to be completed. Jiang Taichung cultivated the sword concept, which was not of much use to Lu Ming. When the time came, Wang Yan's fire concept would allow Lu Ming's fire concept to break through and step into level 3. However, Lu Ming's blood meridian did not improve. The prison-suppressing steel's bloodline was at divine level 3, while the 9 dragons' bloodline was at divine level 4. Who? After refining it, Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief and stood up. The Book of Destiny appeared before his eyes. He noticed that the Book of Destiny's destiny had increased by 2,000 points. This was because after killing Wang Yan and Jiang Taichong, their own luck value had been taken away by Lu Ming. Now, Lu Ming's luck value was close to 5,000. Then he looked at the stone door. He had to break this stone door. Lu Ming began to inscribe the array in front of the stone door. This time he spent half a day to inscribe a level 7 advanced array. Lu Ming could instantly cast a beginner level 7 array. However, if he was given enough time, he could even set up a top-notch level 7 array. The formation glowed, forming a giant hammer that smashed toward the stone door. The hammer condensed by a level 7 advanced array was many times stronger than Lu Ming's attack. Boom! The stone door shook violently as if it was about to be broken. Continue. One by one, the giant hammers formed and smashed against the door. Boom! Boom! The rumbling sounds were endless. After more than a dozen attacks, the door was broken open with a bang, revealing a dark passage. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He waved his hand and a puppet walked in first. Seeing that there was no danger, Lu Ming also stepped in. After the passage, there was a huge underground secret room. Chapter 912. 912 Encountering the Little Demon Lord. This seemed to be a cave abode of an expert. There were tables, chairs, beds, and even a few bookshelves in the underground secret room. Oh! Lu Ming walked around and realized that there were only some books on the bookshelf. Lu Ming walked over and took a look at the books. The sky-leaping battle technique was a cultivation technique. Lu Ming opened it and his eyes widened. He was overjoyed. It was a deity-level cultivation technique, a low-grade deity-level cultivation technique. How precious was a god-grade cultivation technique? For example, the core cultivation technique of the 6 great ancient aristocratic families of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace was a low-grade deity-level cultivation technique. A divine-level cultivation technique could almost support an ancient family. Lu Ming had the true war dragon technique, and did not need to cultivate other cultivation techniques. It was unknown whether the true war dragon technique that Lu Ming cultivated was low-grade or high-grade divine level, but the cultivation requirements were extremely harsh. Others could not cultivate it at all. Lu Ming had 2 disciples, family, and friends, but they could not cultivate the true war dragon technique at all. However, he could pass on other divine-level cultivation techniques to them. Lu Ming was overjoyed as he kept it. Then he looked at the other books. There were more than a dozen books in total. Among them, there were 2 divine-level cultivation techniques, and the others were martial arts techniques, demigod-level martial arts techniques. There were both low-grade and high-grade demigod martial techniques. This was an unimaginable wealth. Lu Ming kept all of them in ecstasy and continued to walk around. He realized that the underground secret chamber was empty. There was nothing else. Lu Ming left the underground secret chamber reluctantly. He then chose a random direction and soared into the sky. Buzz! Not long after Lu Ming left, a figure with monstrous demonic qi descended on the Double Moon Mountain. It was Little Demon Lord Luo Li. The formation here has been broken. Someone has been here. I'm not afraid of you, Luo Li mumbled as a cold glint flashed in his eyes. He stepped into the underground chamber and reappeared outside. As expected, someone has taken the first step. Damn it! Luo Li growled and leaped into the air. The direction he chose was the direction that Lu Ming had left in. As Lu Ming flew, the muscles and bones on his body squirmed. After a while, his body shape and appearance changed greatly. Then the inscriptions on his body glowed and he set up an array to conceal his aura. Not a single bit of aura leaked out from his body. Now the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Demon Valley both wanted to kill him. It would be more convenient for him to act by changing his identity temporarily. Moreover, Lu Ming was not a match for the top talents on the list of top 1,000 talents for the time being. When he improved his cultivation, he would not need to be afraid of them anymore. Lu Ming flew at a slow speed. He mainly wanted to see if there were any spiritual herbs and pick them. Boom! 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 A terrifying sonic boom suddenly came from behind him, and a vast demonic might permeated the air. Stop! Immediately a loud shout was heard. Lu Ming frowned. He stopped and turned to look. Luoli appeared not far from Lu Ming with his vast demonic power. Kid, which direction did you come from? Ro Li pointed at the direction behind him. Not bad. Lu Ming frowned. Have you ever been to the Double Moon Mountain? Ro Li asked. Double Moon Mountain? What Double Moon Mountain? Lu Ming played dumb. Luoli frowned slightly. He could tell that Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm. There was no way he could break the array of Double Moon Mountain. The treasures of Double Moon Mountain should not belong to Lu Ming. You've never been to the Double Moon Mountain? Did you see anyone pass by? Ro Li asked. No, I've been looking for spirit herbs in this area and didn't see anyone else. Lu Ming said. Okay, then you can go. Ro Li waved his hand. Lu Ming nodded and was about to leave when Luo Li's eyes flashed with killing intent. With a wave of his hand, a saber light slashed at Lu Ming. Boom! At this moment, Lu Ming burst out with dragon power. He turned around and threw a punch, which collided with the saber light. His body trembled and he retreated rapidly. What are you doing? Lu Ming shouted. Restrain your aura and be sneaky. Kill them first. Ro Li snorted coldly, but a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. Although he had casually struck out with that move, almost no one under the spirit embryo realm could block it. He did not expect that Lu Ming would be able to block it. Lu Ming's combat strength surprised him. A cold glint flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. These people were really overbearing. They were just suspicious and wanted to kill him. Fortunately, he was prepared. He sensed it the moment Luo Li made his move. Whoosh! Ro Li's demonic chi rolled and he swung his palm again. A black blade light was sent flying at Lu Ming. A purple flame flashed between his brows. Lu Ming waved his hands and an array appeared in the air. It formed golden vines that wrapped around Luo Li. Carving an array in the air? You're a level 7 alchemist. It seems that you've obtained the treasure of Double Moon Mountain. Die! Ro Li's killing intent surged as he roared and his blade flashed. Bang! Bang! The sturdy golden vine exploded in an instant, unable to withstand Ro Li's attack. Lu Ming took a few steps forward and waved his hands. One after another, large arrays appeared. They were all beginner level 7 arrays. However, Ro Li was too strong. With a slash of his saber, everything was destroyed, and all the formations were shattered. Peak of the 3rd level spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming's pupils constricted. Little Demon Lord Luo Li's cultivation was at the peak of the 3rd level of the spirit embryo realm, but with his combat power, even if he was 3 levels higher, it would not be difficult for him to kill an ordinary 6th level spirit embryo realm ancient martial art practitioner. He was simply too strong. And this was still in the spirit embryo realm. If he was in the spiritual ocean tier, it would be easy for him to kill enemies who were 4 levels above him. A grade 7 primary formation posed no threat to Luo Li. Kill! The pitch-black demonic blade exuded a terrifying aura. The formation was shattered, and Lu Ming was swept by a blade gleam. The scales on his skin were shattered, and one of his arms was almost chopped off. Bang! On Lu Ming's body, the array that had concealed his aura collapsed, and his original aura was revealed. You are Lu Ming? Aha, my luck is not bad. If I kill you, the supreme leader of the Wang clan will reward me handsomely. Luo Li laughed as his demonic might surged. A terrifying saber radiance cut through everything, shattering the formation in front of him. The terrifying saber radiance then slashed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his hands and 2 puppets rushed out. They were easily cut in half by the saber radiance. Lu Ming, you're out of luck to have run into me. You'll die today. Ro Li laughed. However, Lu Ming waved his hands and more than 10 puppets appeared, charging at Luo Li. They were all at 1st and 2nd rank of 7th level. Behind the dozen or so puppets were 9 puppets that looked like white birds. They followed the puppets in front of them and charged at Ro Li. The remaining 9 puppets were all at 4th grade 7th level. This was the highest grade puppet that Lu Ming had bought from the treasure pavilion. He could not control it if he had not broken through to become a 7th rank alchemist. Ro Li slashed with his demonic blade, and the puppets in front of him were cut into pieces. However, at this moment the strongest puppet had arrived. Explode! Lu Ming spat out a word softly. Chapter 913. 913 Perfect Spiritual Ocean Tier. As Lu Ming uttered the word explode, the 9 4th grade 7th level puppets glowed and exploded. The puppets self-destructed. The 9 4th grade 7th level puppets self-destructed, creating a terrifying energy storm that surged toward Luo Li. Lu Ming turned around and used the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps to leave the place. Boom! 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 Ro Li's furious roar came from the violent energy, and after a few breaths, he charged out. At this moment he was in an extremely sorry state. His clothes were in tatters, and there were many wounds on his body that were bleeding profusely. His face was pitch black as if it had been burnt. He swept his gaze around, but there was no trace of Lu Ming. Ah, Lu Ming, I'll kill you! A furious roar came from Ro Li's mouth. Luo Li's killing intent towards Lu Ming was extremely strong. Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and advanced at top speed. The self-destruction of the 9 4th grade 7th level puppets was powerful, but Lu Ming knew that it would not do much to Luo Li. It's still not enough to rely on the Tao of Inscription. Lu Ming furrowed his eyebrows tightly. His Tao of Inscription was already very strong, and he could instantly cast a level 7 primary array. If coordinated well, even an ordinary 4th level spirit embryo realm ancient martial art practitioner would be killed by him. He had only just broken through to become a level 7 alchemist, and that was already terrifying enough. However, Ro Li was no ordinary warrior. He was a prodigy among prodigies. My martial cultivation has to break through to the spirit embryo realm as soon as possible. Only then will I have the confidence to fight against prodigies like Luo Li. The breakthrough to the spirit embryo realm was imperative. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, it was a piece of cake for him to deal with ordinary heaven's favorites or even most of the god-level heaven's favorites. However, the top 100 on the list of top 1,000 talents, and even those who were ranked higher, were all monstrous geniuses. They were too strong for him. After flying for 100,000 miles, Lu Ming landed and circulated his cultivation for a while. The injury on his arm was completely healed. Then Lu Ming took a look at his luck value. It had exceeded 10,000 and reached 10,800. He had obtained the secret manuals from the Double Moon Mountain, and his luck value had increased by more than 5,000. I've finished exploring the strange land within a radius of 100,000 li. I need to go further to explore. Lu Ming pondered and chose the west. He flew toward the west. What? After flying for a while, Lu Ming's gaze suddenly stopped. A group of figures appeared in front of him. The three-eyed god race had a total of 100 or so people, and they were flying through the sky at high speed. At this moment, the three-eyed god also saw Lu Ming. It's those human youths. Kill them! Kill them! The moment the three-eyed gods caught sight of Lu Ming, they roared and charged at him. The strongest seems to be at the 4th level of spirit embryo realm. Then, all of you will become my nourishment? Lu Ming's eyes flickered with cold killing intent. He took a few steps forward, and the inscriptions continued to seep into the void. Buzz! Buzz! The three-eyed god was extremely fast. In just a few breaths he was already close to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a heavy step in the void. Runes glowed and an array appeared. It condensed into sword beams and slashed forward. This was a level 7 array formation, and it was extremely powerful. Those three-eyed gods below the spirit embryo realm were instantly sliced in half, killed on the spot. Roar! The bloodline of the 9 dragons appeared. With a roar, devouring power erupted. The blood essence, intent runes, and energy of the three-eyed elder god that had been killed were all devoured by Lu Ming. Even those who survived were greatly weakened by the devouring power of the 9 dragons' bloodline. Lu Ming continued to inscribe arrays and launched a storm of attacks. Some of the first and second level spirit embryo realm three-eyed gods found it difficult to resist and were killed under the storm of attacks. Retreat, retreat. The leader was a fourth level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god. He had a burly body and a powerful aura, but he was currently filled with fear as he shouted in shock. Whoosh! Whoosh! Swordlight flashed and one by one the three-eyed god race was killed. Bang! In the end, only the fourth level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god managed to charge out of the array's range. He frantically fled into the distance, disappearing into the horizon. The other three-eyed gods were all killed by Lu Ming. What a pity! Lu Ming muttered. If he had directed all of his attacks at the fourth level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god, it would have been enough to kill him. However, the attacks were too scattered, so he had escaped. Lu Ming kept all the storage rings and controlled his 9-dragon bloodline to devour the 100 three-eyed gods and turn them into mummies before leaving the place. 10,000 miles away, Lu Ming dug out a cave in a large mountain. He carved an array at the entrance of the cave and sat cross-legged in the cave, beginning the refinement. Although most of the 100 three-eyed gods were at the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm and had perfected the spiritual ocean realm, their energy was still shocking. Lu Ming continued to refine them. Lu Ming's focus was on the concept. He would get rid of the intent he didn't need and refine the intent he needed. Among them, the fire concept was the most abundant, and there was also the thunder and wind concepts. There weren't many earth concepts, but there were a few. There was even a three-eyed god at the 2nd level of the spirit embryo realm who had comprehended the earth concept. At the spirit embryo realm, one's intent would definitely be at the 3rd level. This allowed Lu Ming's earth concept to break through to the full circle of level 2. As his earth concept broke through to the perfected stage of level 2, the massive amount of energy was constantly being converted into Lu Ming's cultivation. Not long after, Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed and he broke through to the perfected spirit sea realm. Buzz! Then the bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel emerged, exuding an ancient and heavy aura. The 3 golden chakras glowed, and the next moment, the 4th chakra emerged. The prison-suppressing steel's bloodline had also advanced to the 4th level of the divine level. 2 hours later, Lu Ming had refined all the energy. The wind and fire concepts had improved the most, and they were approaching the lower tier of level 3. His thunder concept had also broken through to level 3. Only the earth concept was still at the great circle of level 2. His cultivation had also reached the peak of the perfected spirit ocean realm, and he was only one step away from the spirit embryo realm. This time he had gained a lot. Moreover, his luck value had also increased by a few thousand. Killing these three-eyed god race beings really is worth it. Lu Ming revealed a smile. The 2nd level of the earth essence realm has been completed. Now is the time for the nature fruit to come in handy. Lu Ming pondered. The next moment, a nature fruit appeared in his hand. He swallowed it without hesitation. With a single thought, the nature manifestation fruit entered Lu Ming's body and transformed into a wondrous energy. This energy seemed to follow Lu Ming's thoughts and transformed into an extremely rich earth concept. The nature fruit could transform into anything. It was truly mysterious. Lu Ming cultivated the earth concept with the nature manifestation fruit and made rapid progress. Lu Ming took out another nature fruit after he had finished one. Previously, Lu Ming had obtained a total of Tilavir nature fruits. 3 days later, after Lu Ming had consumed 7 nature manifestation fruits, his earth concept finally broke through the bottleneck and reached level 3. At this point, Lu Ming's 4 concepts had all reached level 3. Their power had increased to a terrifying level. Chapter 914. 914 Chapter 914 Waiting. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was not over yet. He spent the next 2 days refining the remaining 5 nature fruits. His earth concept had improved to the middle of the 3rd level. However, the effects of the 1,000 elephant fruit are getting worse and worse. Lu Ming thought to himself. The effect of the thousand-form fruit was the best during the first 5. The further he ate, the more his body seemed to be immune to the thousand-form fruit, and the less effective it was. If he had more nature manifestation fruits and continued to eat them, the effect would be minimal. All 4 intents had broken through to the 3rd level. The next step was to form a spirit embryo. Condensing a spirit embryo was to condense the spirit ocean into a round shape, like a placenta. That was why it was called a spirit embryo. A spirit embryo could give birth to a spirit god. It wasn't that easy to form a spirit embryo, and it required a massive amount of energy. Lu Ming had a large number of raw gemstones on him, but he did not want to waste them. Weren't there many three-eyed gods out there? Why waste it? Lu Ming came out of the cave and found a very magnificent and more obvious mountain peak. Lu Ming began to inscribe the array on the peak of the mountain. The endless inscriptions kept entering the mountain peak. This time he spent 2 whole days to inscribe a formation. However, this formation was a top-notch level 7 formation, and its power was extremely terrifying. After he was done, Lu Ming spent a little more time to inscribe some level 7 intermediate formations. Then he sat cross-legged on the mountain peak. He planned to wait here for the three-eyed god race. After all, the intent realm and true essence he devoured needed time to refine and polish. He might as well wait for the enemy to take the bait, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Lu Ming sat on the peak of the mountain, cultivating quietly with his eyes closed. 1 day, 2 days, and the first 3 days there was no one. However, Lu Ming was not in a hurry. His essential core and artistic conception were slowly becoming pure. However, it was not enough. He still needed to condense and polish them rapidly. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days had passed. Lu Ming had been sitting there for 6 days. Buzz. An NBSP whoosh. Oh. On the 7th day, there was the sound of air breaking. More than 20 figures appeared not far from the mountain. More than 20 figures were all young people. Some of them were young Heaven's Pride experts, while others carried long swords on their backs and were wrapped in black robes. They were men of sacrifice. These were the geniuses of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. There's someone on the mountain. One of them looked at the mountain peak and said. The others all looked towards the mountain peak. That person looks familiar. It's Lu Ming. That's Lu Ming. Someone shouted. It's really Lu Ming. I didn't expect him to be sitting on the mountain peak so openly. Brother Luan, why don't we attack and kill Lu Ming? The few young men all looked at a young man in armor. He was a god-tier genius from the Luan family, an ancient family. He was ranked 139th on the list of top 1,000 talents, and was the leader of the crowd. At this moment, Lu Ming also opened his eyes and looked at the geniuses of the Ditian Divine Palace. The corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. Lu Ming did not disguise himself since he was going down the formation. If the paragons of the other forces wanted to kill him, he would not mind killing them and obtaining their luck points. The prodigy of the chaotic clan frowned. Back then, at the 9 Dragons Exchange meet, Lu Ming had displayed his powerful combat strength and was not much weaker than him. Now that more than half a year had passed, although he had made great progress, Lu Ming must have become stronger as well. He was not confident. Moreover, Lu Ming was sitting on the mountain peak openly. He had a bad feeling. Lu Ming is very evil. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure. Besides, he's just sitting there. I'm afraid he's up to something. Let's leave Lu Ming's life to those stronger people. We just have to spread the news, said the chosen of the chaotic clan. The others were silent for a moment before nodding. Oh. Since the prodigy of the chaotic clan had said so, the others, who were weaker in battle prowess, naturally didn't dare to make a move. Let's go, we're leaving this place, the chosen of the chaotic clan said. Then, the group flew forward and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming felt that it was a pity. These people were really cautious. He had no choice but to continue waiting. However, in less than 2 hours, a loud sound came from the front. Lu Ming saw that it was still the young man from the Luan family and his group. However, at this moment they were panicking and in a sorry state, running for their lives. Behind them, tall and burly figures were chasing them. Behind them, there were 500 to 600 three-eyed gods pursuing them. There were quite a few powerful beings among the three-eyed gods, and their auras were extremely terrifying. Die, human! How dare you use us as your trial targets? Die! An NBSP kill! Kill! The three-eyed god race members all shouted as they madly pursued. They weren't using their full strength, and it was as if they were playing cat and mouse. Stop playing around. Kill these ants as soon as possible and look for other humans. You'll be heavily rewarded for every human you kill. A deep voice rang out. Yes, yes, an expert from the three-eyed god race responded, and his speed suddenly increased. He soared into the air and charged in front of the chosen from the Luan clan, blocking their path. Those people were shockingly at the third level of spirit embryo realm. As for the youth from the Luan family, he was only at the great circle of the spiritual ocean tier. At this moment he had a look of despair. Hey, there's a human on that mountain. Go kill him. At this moment the three-eyed god race noticed Lu Ming. The leader waved his hand, and a first-level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god immediately rushed up the mountain peak and charged at Lu Ming with a sinister smile. Die! The three-eyed god's killing intent was icy cold. You're the one who's going to die. Lu Ming stood up and struck out with his palm like lightning. Boom! This first-level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god was split into pieces by Lu Ming's palm. Now that Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the perfected spirit sea realm, it was a piece of cake for him to kill an expert of the first-level spirit embryo realm. The prison-suppressing heavenly art must be controlled properly. It can't be too explosive. Lu Ming secretly warned himself. As the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline was upgraded to level 4 of the divine tier, the prison-suppressing heavenly technique's power had reached the level of a low-grade divine tier martial technique. Its power was terrifying. However, the amount of essential core consumed was absolutely unimaginable. If Lu Ming were to use the white hair prison destructive divine art at full force, his entire body of essential core would be drained dry in an instant. If he was not careful, he would not be able to release much power. Looks like I'll have to stop upgrading the prison-suppressing steel bloodline for now. I'll focus on upgrading the Nine Dragons bloodline. Otherwise, the power of the prison-suppressing heaven technique will be too strong, and my cultivation is too weak. It'll be difficult for me to use it. I'll think about it after I improve my cultivation. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. As for the chosen of the chaotic clan and the others, they were all dumbfounded. Lu Ming had actually killed a first-level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god with one move. He was too powerful. His combat strength was definitely far above his. However, he would still die in the face of so many three-eyed gods. He's quite strong. All of you attack him together and kill him. The leader of the three-eyed god race waved his hand, and 7 to 8 figures charged toward Lu Ming. Chapter 9:15. 9:15 Breaking through to the spirit embryo realm. These 7 to 8 three-eyed gods were all in the first or second level of the spirit embryo realm. There was even one in the third level of the spirit embryo realm, which was more than enough to kill Lu Ming. Oh, the 8 three-eyed god race beings were all tall and muscular, covered in scales. Their eyes were cold like demons from the abyss. They stepped in the air, causing the air to tremble. A terrifying aura emanated from their bodies. All of the three-eyed gods who had been preparing to kill the chosen of the Luan clan suddenly stopped in their tracks and looked in Lu Ming's direction. They wanted to see how Lu Ming was going to be killed, and how the chosen of the Luan clan would be struck with even more fear. Bang! Bang! The 8 three-eyed gods landed on the mountain peak. The mountain peak rumbled as the 8 of them landed in 4 different directions, surrounding Lu Ming. Die! A second-level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god shouted coldly, and a beam of light shot out from his third eye. This beam of light was made of ice, and wherever it passed, a white passage appeared in the space, filled with ice crystals. Bang! And NBSP. Lu Ming took a step forward, and a large formation appeared on the ground. 2 ice spears were formed, one of which destroyed the three-eyed god's beam of light, while the other pierced through the three-eyed god. Not good, it's a formation. And NBSP, the other 7 three-eyed gods on the mountain all paled, and they tried to retreat, but it was too late. And NBSP, the cold air was pressing down on everyone, and 20 ice spears instantly appeared, surrounding the 7 three-eyed gods. Whoosh! Whoosh! The spear pierced through the air with unparalleled speed. The 7 three-eyed gods screamed in pain as they were killed. This was a level 7 middle grade array technique. It was more than enough to kill a three-eyed god whose highest cultivation was only at the 3rd level of the spirit embryo realm. The other three-eyed gods all paled. And NBSP, the three-eyed god in the lead, had a grave expression on his face, and then a cold killing intent began to spread. So you've set up a formation here. Do you think that setting up a formation is of any use? Let's attack together and kill him with long-range attacks. The leader of the three-eyed god race ordered. In an instant, all the three-eyed gods surrounded Lu Ming's mountain peak. They surrounded him from all directions, making it impossible for even a drop of water to pass through. On the other hand, no one bothered with the prodigies of the chaotic clan. Let's go further away. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the prodigy of the chaotic clan and the others flew far away, hiding on a hidden mountain peak to watch. If anything went wrong, they planned to escape immediately. Kill! The leader of the three-eyed god race gave the order, and all the other three-eyed gods' third eyes glowed. Beams of light shot out at the speed of light, shooting toward Lu Ming. Within 3,000 meters, that's enough. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Even though the three-eyed gods surrounded the mountain and didn't approach it, they were still within 3,000 meters of it. This was enough. He took a step forward and a huge formation appeared on the mountain peak. The formation was made up of countless inscriptions. It was the top-notch level 7 formation that Lu Ming had spent 2 days inscribing. This formation was called the Star-Chasing Moon Formation. The formation was activated, and countless arrows were shot out in all directions. Each arrow was like a stream of light, tearing through the void as if it could chase the stars and the moon. That was how the formation got its name. Bang! 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 The beams of light shot out from the three-eyed god's eyes were all shattered, and the arrows didn't stop. They continued to shoot out in all directions. The power of a peak grade level 7 formation was truly terrifying. The three-eyed gods were all pierced through and shot into the air. Retreat, quickly retreat! And NBSP, the remaining three-eyed gods all screamed in fear and tried to run, but they were greeted by even more arrows. Blood splattered everywhere, and agonized cries rang out. No matter if they were in the spiritual ocean tier or the spirit embryo realm, no matter if they were in the 1st level or the 2nd level of the spirit embryo realm, or even stronger, they were all killed by the arrows in an instant. No! Arg! The leader of the three-eyed god race let loose a cry of terror as a vast aura erupted from his body. A terrifying black light that seemed to have the power to destroy the heavens and earth appeared. This leader of the three-eyed god race had a cultivation of the 7th tier spirit embryo realm, and was extremely powerful. However, under the attack of a peak grade level 7 formation, it was still useless. He was pierced through by the dense arrows and turned into a hornet's nest. A level 7 high-grade array could already kill experts of the 7th level spirit embryo realm and above, let alone a top-notch level 7 array. Lu Ming had spent 2 days to set this up. In the distance, the paragon of the chaotic clan and the others were all pale with fright, and their bodies trembled in fear. They thought of how they had wanted to kill Lu Ming previously. It was a good thing they were wary and didn't attack. Otherwise, they would have been dead. This Lu Ming is too powerful. He can actually set up such a terrifying formation. We'd better not provoke him in the future. If others want to kill him and get rewards, let them do it. The heaven's favorite of the chaotic clan said with lingering fear in his heart. That's right. We can't deal with such a monster. Let's leave this place first and find other opportunities. Another person said in a low voice. That's right, let's go. Leave this place. After that, the young man from the Luan family and the others left the place carefully. And NBSP, At this moment, all of the three-eyed gods around the mountain had been killed by the formation. Lu Ming cast a glance in the direction where the youth from the chaotic family and the rest had left, but he ignored them. He was just a clown, and the highest he could get was only at the great circle of the spiritual ocean realm. Even if he killed him, he wouldn't get much. With the appearance of the nine-dragon bloodline, a violent devouring power burst forth, devouring the blood essence, energy, and intent runes of the three-eyed gods. Let's go and find a place to refine it. Lu Ming moved and left the place. He found a hidden place and started to refine. The surging energy was continuously converted into true essence and poured into the spirit sea. The blood essence was used to improve the bloodline of the 9 dragons. It's enough, there's enough energy. I'll start to break through to the spirit embryo realm now. Lu Ming circulated the true war dragon technique and began to break through to the next realm. The spiritual ocean tier was continuously expanding the area of the spiritual ocean. The larger the area of the spiritual ocean, the more Zhenyuan it could store. However, the spirit embryo realm was completely different. One had to condense the spirit ocean into a sphere, like an embryo. This was the spirit embryo realm, and as one's cultivation continued to rise, the area of the spirit embryo would become smaller and smaller, but it would become more and more solid, and finally give birth to a spirit god. Boom! 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 The spirit sea started to shake and change its shape. Lu Ming had started to break through to the next realm. This process was slow and required time. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. The spirit sea in Lu Ming's dantian had disappeared and was replaced by a huge ball. This ball was transformed from the previous spirit sea and was completely condensed from vital essence. A vast and powerful aura was emitted from the ball. Lu Ming's body also exuded a powerful aura. Spirit embryo realm breakthrough. However, this was not the end. The energy from the hundreds of three-eyed gods he devoured was too abundant. Lu Ming's energy had not been completely consumed even after he broke through to the first level of spirit embryo realm. His cultivation was still rising rapidly. Another 3 days passed before Lu Ming's aura stabilized. His cultivation had already advanced to the second level of the spirit embryo realm. Chapter 916. 916 Great Improvement in Strength. Lu Ming's cultivation had broken through to the second level of the spirit embryo realm in one go. His strength had skyrocketed and it was much higher than before. Oh! Lu Ming felt that his entire body was filled with energy, boundless energy. Roar! Dragon roars reverberated as the 5 golden chakras on the body of the 9-dragon bloodline shone. His 9-dragon bloodline had also been upgraded to the 5th level of the divine level. This was all thanks to the leader of the three-eyed god race, who was at the 7th level of the spirit embryo realm. He was really powerful. Whether it was his blood essence or energy, they were all extremely powerful. Otherwise, Lu Ming would not have been able to have such a huge improvement. And the intent realms of wind, fire, and thunder are all at the peak of the 3rd level entry. I'm just one step away from the 3rd level lower tier. The earth intent realm is also at the late stage of the 3rd level entry. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with excitement. The function of the 9 dragons bloodline was too heaven-defying. It allowed Lu Ming's cultivation base to skyrocket. It was entirely possible for him to cultivate a few more concepts in the future. This time, be it the will or the Zhenyuan, they have both improved too much. I can already feel that the will and Zhenyuan are a little messy. I can't devour them for a while. I need to spend some time to stabilize my foundation. Lu Ming pondered secretly. However, Lu Ming did not want to go into seclusion to condense all the time. He wanted to search for treasures and opportunities while slowly building his foundation. After all, 1.5 months had passed since the Battle of Providence. There was less and less time left. Lu Ming ended his closed-door cultivation and flew high into the sky. With a flash of his body and a burst of quintessential essence, Lu Ming's figure was dozens of miles away. His vital essence is too strong. With my current cultivation, I can definitely fight with little demon Lord Luoli, or even kill him. Lu Ming revealed a confident smile on his face. Compared to the last time he met Luoli, Lu Ming had improved a lot. All 4 intents had broken through to the 3rd level. With the advancement of the 9-dragon bloodline, he had an additional dragon power. In addition, his cultivation had advanced to the 2nd level of the spirit embryo realm. His combat strength had improved too much. Whoosh! Lu Ming turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the sky. Next, Lu Ming searched for elixirs and precious materials while he built his foundation and stabilized his cultivation. Although Lu Ming's speed was not too fast, he still flew hundreds of thousands of miles. On the way, he met a few people from the 3-eyed god race, but he didn't attack them. There were powerful beings among these 3-eyed god race beings, and there were quite a few of them who were above the 7th level of the spirit embryo realm. And in the spirit embryo realm, it was undoubtedly more difficult to fight across levels. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, he was confident that he would not be afraid of 7th level spirit embryo realm experts. However, it would be troublesome if he were to be surrounded by many experts of this level. Furthermore, his foundation wasn't stable yet. Even if he killed the 3-eyed god race, he wouldn't be able to devour them, so he didn't make a move. On this day, Lu Ming was sitting cross-legged on a large tree, condensing his essential core and polishing his artistic conception. Suddenly, in the distant sky, 2 figures were flying forward at high speed. They were 2 young men, a man and a woman. Inscriptions glowed on their bodies. Xingcheng flapped his wings and continued flying forward. However, they seemed to be in a panic and were in a sorry state. The Talisman Amulet Sect. Lu Ming's expression changed. This was the first time Lu Ming encountered a Talisman Amulet Sect disciple since he entered. The number of Talisman Amulet Sect members participating in the Battle of Karmic Luck was small to begin with, so the chances of encountering one were naturally small. However, the 2 Talisman Amulet Sect disciples were obviously running away with someone chasing after them. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 or 4 streaks of light streaked through the air and chased after him. They were 4 young men. From their clothes, they were actually from the Empyrean Heavenly Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse Sect. The 2 forces had actually joined forces to pursue the Talisman Amulet Sect. You can't run away. Just come with us obediently. A paragon of the Heavenly Corpse Sect, who was covered in corpse chi, sneered. This person had a cultivation at the Great Circle of the Spiritual Ocean tier. It had been more than a month and a half since the War of Providence had started. In such an environment, Lu Ming was not the only one making progress. Everyone was making progress as well. Many people's cultivation levels had also improved by leaps and bounds. When they first entered, only Wang Yan and the other top 100 on the list of top 1,000 talents had a cultivation at the perfected spiritual ocean realm. Even Difeng was only at the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm. But now, there were already quite a number of people who had broken through to the perfected spirit sea realm. There were even some who had started to charge towards the spirit embryo realm. And those heaven's favorites who were already above the spirit embryo realm naturally had a breakthrough. Everyone was improving, and if they didn't improve they would be eliminated. Of the other 3 pursuing youths, one of them had a cultivation base at the perfected spiritual ocean realm, while the other 2 were at the peak 9th level spiritual ocean realm. The 4 of them were extremely fast as they approached the 2 Talisman Amulet Sect disciples. Let's go all out with them. The Talisman Sect's woman shouted angrily and stopped. More than 10 inscription scrolls appeared in her hand. Mental energy fire filled the air. And the inscription scrolls lit up. Attacks burst out one after another, attacking the 4 people who were chasing after them. Small tricks. A saber light slashed out. It came from a purple-robed young man from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. The purple-robed young man was another expert at the perfected spirit sea realm. Without a doubt, this man was a god-tier heaven's favorite who had awakened a god-tier bloodline. His combat strength was extremely powerful. As the blade light flashed, the Talisman Sect woman's inscription scrolls were all destroyed. In the end, the blade light landed on the woman's body and broke her protective shield. The woman spat out a mouthful of blood and her body drifted back. Junior sister, hi. The Talisman Sect man supported the woman, his face filled with worry. Like I said, you can't leave. Just come with us obediently. The young man from the Heavenly Corpse sect stepped forward and sneered. The 4 young men from the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect had already surrounded the 2 Talisman Amulet sect disciples. Don't even think about it. You captured our Talisman Amulet sect's disciples just to help you crack the array in the ruins. That array is extremely mysterious and dangerous. Even if we were to crack it, there's a high chance that we'll die. The treasures we obtain in the end will belong to you. Don't even think about it. The Talisman sect's young woman was extremely unyielding as she rebuked loudly. Do you still not understand? Your Talisman Amulet sect's only purpose in participating in the War of Providence is to help us crack the formations in the ruins. Otherwise, we would have killed you long ago if we saw you. Why would we have kept you alive until now? The purple-robed young man said coldly with an air of superiority. Kong Mingshang, if you want to kill me, then kill me. I'll help you break the formation. After breaking this one, there's still the next one. I'll die sooner or later. Why don't you kill me now? The young woman shouted coldly. Oh. Kong Mingshang was a heaven's favorite from the Kong family, one of the 6 great ancient families. He was ranked 198th on the list of top 1,000 talents and was a true god-level heaven's favorite. Do you want to die? It's not that easy. You're pretty good looking. We can have a good time with you. I'll see if you beg for mercy under my majesty's eyes. The young man from the Heavenly Corpse sect sneered, and a trace of evil fire flashed in his eyes. This made the young woman's face pale. Everyone, I hope I'm not disturbing you. Lu Ming was stepping in the air and walking toward them. Chapter 917. 917 The situation of the Talisman sect's disciples. Fini. No Lu Ming Zongzi. Oh. The 2 men from the Talisman sect were pleasantly surprised when they saw Lu Ming. Lu Ming, it's you. The faces of Kong Mingshang and the rest changed when they saw Lu Ming. Back then, Lu Ming's combat strength was already very terrifying at the social gathering. Kong Mingshang and the other 3 could not help but gather together. They looked at Lu Ming with grave expressions. What's wrong? Do you think my Talisman Amulet sect has no one? Lu Ming's expression turned cold. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. There are 4 of us. Why should we be afraid of him? Moreover, our cultivation and abilities have improved by leaps and bounds during this period of time. We might be able to improve even faster than Lu Ming. If the 4 of us join forces, we'll be able to kill him. A hint of viciousness and greed flashed in Kong Mingshang's eyes. Killing Lu Ming would earn him a huge reward from the Wang family supreme martial artist. This made him very tempted. When the other 3 heard Kong Mingshang's words, they were very tempted. Lu Ming was strong in the past, but that did not mean that he would always be strong. During this period of time they had made great progress. They did not believe that the 4 of them could not kill Lu Ming with their combined strength. Lu Ming looked at Kong Mingshang with a half-smile and a hint of contempt flashed in his eyes. Attack! Let's attack together and kill him. Kong Mingshang growled. Being looked at by Lu Ming with such a gaze, Kong Ming still felt very uncomfortable. He was ranked 198th on the list of top 1,000 talents, and yet Lu Ming was looking at him with such contempt. Who was Lu Ming? Kill! The 4 of them roared and attacked at the same time, charging toward Lu Ming. The dazzling saber light and the boundless corpse chi enveloped Lu Ming. Zongzi, be careful! The 2 Talisman sect disciples exclaimed in shock. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He did not move but took a step forward. Countless inscriptions emerged from under Lu Ming's feet. A large array appeared out of thin air. A fierce tiger with blazing flames condensed and roared at the sky. Kong Mingshang and the other 3 were shocked, and their pupils contracted. He carved an array in the void. He's a level 7 alchemist. This is a level 7 formation. No, spare my life. The 4 of them screamed in fear. However, the next moment, the flaming tiger pounced and tore the 4 of them apart. Naturally, after killing 4 people, Lu Ming's luck value increased a little. The two talisman amulet sect disciples were dumbfounded. Zongzi Lu Ming, you've advanced to a rank 7 alchemist. The young woman was overjoyed. All the young prodigies of the talisman amulet sect knew that Lu Ming had lit up 10 spirit lamps in the first 5 levels. After that, Lu Ming entered the observatory, and the spirit lamps he lit at the 6th level were definitely not bad. With such a foundation, Lu Ming would definitely be very strong when he broke through to a 7th rank alchemist. Naturally, they would be happy. What are your names? Lu Ming nodded and asked. Zongzi, I'm Hai Fei, he's Lu Guang. The young woman said. The two of them looked quite intimate, so they should be a couple. I heard you say that the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect are capturing the disciples of our Talisman Amulet sect to help them break the array formation in the ruins. What exactly is going on? Lu Ming asked. It's like this. The Heavenly Corpse sect, the Heavenly Demon Valley, and the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace have discovered a huge ruin. However, the ruins are surrounded by array formations that are extremely powerful. The Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect can't break through the array formations with their half-baked Tao of inscription. Therefore, they have set their sights on the disciples of the Talisman Amulet sect. The 3 parties have joined forces to capture the disciples of the Talisman Amulet sect and help them break the array formation. I heard that some of the disciples of the Talisman Amulet sect have already died while trying to break the array formation. Hai Fei gritted her teeth and said. A sharp glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He was treating the Talisman Amulet sect disciples as tools. Don't tell me that there aren't any experts from our Talisman Amulet sect to fight against them. Lu Ming asked. No, Hai Fei shook her head. The 13 Zongzis aren't here. And the enemy is too strong. Even if someone tries to fight them, they'll die. That's right. I heard that many Heaven's Pride experts from the 3 forces have gathered there. There are even quite a few of them who are ranked in the top 100 on the list of top 1,000 talents. The strongest ones are the Little Demon Lord Luo Li, the Li Fire Sword Li Tiangu, the Blood Sword 7 and the Blood Sword 9 from the Heavenly Corpse sect, and the 2 Heaven's Pride experts from the Heavenly Demon Valley who are no weaker than the Li Fire Sword and the Little Demon Lord. Lu Guang added. Little Demon Lord, is there still Brother Litian? Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Among them, Brother Litian was the highest ranked on the list of top 1,000 talents at 51st place. He was 10 places higher than Little Demon Lord Luo Li. Of course, it had been more than 4 years since the last update of the list of top 1,000 talents. Brother Litian's combat strength might not be stronger than the Little Demon Lord's, but he was definitely not to be underestimated. Where are the ruins? Lu Ming asked. Zongzi, do you really want to go? But the other side is so powerful. Hai Fei was a little worried. What's wrong? Are you afraid? If you're scared, tell me the address. I'll go alone. Lu Ming said. In the future, he would take control of the Talisman Amulet sect. In his opinion, these paragons of the Talisman Amulet sect would become the pillars of the sect and his powerful helpers. How could he let them die here? Lu Ming would definitely go and save them. Also, it was time to settle the score with the Little Demon Lord. He had wasted so many puppets. No, I'm not afraid. If Zongzi wants to go, I'll go with him. Lu Guang, what about you? Hai Fei gritted her teeth, then looked at Lu Guang. Since you're going, I'm naturally going too. Lu Guang's determined gaze warmed Hai Fei's heart. Haha, alright, then you guys lead the way. We'll go together. Lu Ming said with a smile. The 3 of them immediately tore through the void and headed toward the ruins that Hai Fei had mentioned. There was a huge legacy site more than 100,000 miles away from Lu Ming and the rest. This was a group of palaces. They looked very old, and some places were already somewhat dilapidated. In all directions of the palace complex, there were all kinds of killing formations, illusory formations, overlapping each other, making it extremely dangerous. This place was first discovered by the paragons of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect, but they couldn't enter at all. They even lost a lot of people in the formation. In the end, they could only gather the nearby Heaven's Pride experts to crack the array together. In the end, Even the Heaven's Pride experts of the Sky Demon Valley joined in. However, they realized that it was too difficult to break these arrays. Even if they could break them, they didn't know how long it would take. Therefore, they began to target the Talisman Amulet sect disciples and captured them everywhere. Outside the ruins, the supreme talents of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, the Heavenly Corpse sect, and the Sky Demon Valley, as well as some suicide soldiers, numbered more than 300 people. They surrounded the dozen Talisman Amulet sect disciples in the middle. Alright, we've rested enough. Let's set off now and continue to crack the array. Little Demon Lord Luo Li's eyes glowed with a murderous light as he stared at the Talisman Amulet sect. Don't even think about it. If you want to break it, you can do it yourself. We won't go again. Chapter 918. 918 Meeting Li again. Not going. Sure, I'll kill you right now. And you're as beautiful as a fairy. This young master doesn't mind letting you have a good time. Oh. The little demonic lord stared at Bai Qixue with his eyes full of evil fire. If not for the fact that there were people from the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, the Heavenly Corpse sect, and the Sky Demon Valley, he would have executed Bai Qixue on the spot. Bai Qixue's face turned pale when she saw the little demon lord's evil eyes. She did not dare to say anything. You guys go first and break the formation. The little demon lord pointed at 5 of them and said coldly. The 5 people's faces turned ugly and they sighed. He had no choice but to break the formation. If he did, he might still be able to survive. If he didn't, he would be killed. Previously, 2 Talisman Amulet sect disciples had gone against the little demon lord, and were brutally killed by him. Who didn't know that the various devil lords of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace were cruel and merciless? As the 5 Talisman Amulet sect disciples walked into the ruins, the 3 parties from the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace were closely watching them. After a while, light began to shine from inside. The disciples of the Talisman Amulet sect had already begun to break the array. But not long after, a scream was heard. What's going on? The little demon lord's voice spread far and wide. A Talisman sect disciple tried to break the formation but was killed by the formation. A disciple of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace came to report. You're really trash. The little demon lord shouted coldly. Bai Qixue and the other disciples of the Talisman sect looked miserable. Among the 4 great powers, the Talisman Amulet sect was the weakest. Now that the other 3 powers had joined forces to deal with them, they had no way of resisting. These Talisman Amulet sect disciples are too weak. I'm afraid it'll be difficult to break the array here. A young man in blood-red clothes and carrying a blood-red sword on his back said coldly from the crowd of the Heavenly Corpse sect. His name was the 7th Bloodsword, and he was ranked higher than the little demon lord on the list of top 1,000 talents. That's right. If we can catch one of the 13 candidates, the possibility of cracking the seal will increase greatly. One of the Sky Demon Valley's elites said as he licked his lips. I don't know where those guys are. I haven't seen a single one these days. The 7th Bloodsword said. Not bad. The others nodded in agreement. As for the Talisman sect disciples who were killed while breaking the array, they were unconcerned. They even thought that the other party was trash who couldn't even break the array. The few of them were chatting when suddenly, their expressions changed and they looked towards the eastern sky. 3 beams of light flew over. When the light dispersed, 3 figures appeared. They were Lu Ming, Hai Fei, and Lu Guang. Lu Ming, it's you piece of trash. The little demon Lord Luo Li was the first to speak, his eyes filled with anger. Previously, he had been injured by Lu Ming's puppet. He had wanted to tear Lu Ming's bones apart. He had never expected that Lu Ming would suddenly appear here. Lu Ming, it's him. There are 2 Talisman Amulet sect disciples with him. Haha. There's actually someone who delivered himself to my door. The others all called out. This was especially so for the supreme talents of the Empyrean Heavenly Divine Palace and the Heavenly Demon Valley. They looked at Lu Ming with burning eyes. There would be a huge reward for killing Lu Ming. Lu Ming, what are you doing here? They want to capture our talisman amulet sect's disciples to help them break the formation. Hurry up and leave. Seeing Lu Ming, Bai Qixue cried out, looking anxious. There were too many paragons from the three forces here. They were too powerful. No matter how powerful Lu Ming was, he was no match for them. Lu Ming smiled at Bai Qixue and glanced around. A murderous look flashed in his eyes. Buzz! Buzz! In a flash, the supreme talents of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Demon Valley moved. They appeared around Lu Ming and vaguely cut off his escape route. Lu Ming, I'll see where you can run to this time. If I don't skin you alive, I'm not called Luo Li. The little demon lord looked at Lu Ming coldly. Didn't you want to break the formation here? I'll help you break it. Lu Ming said as he glanced at the little demon lord. You can break it. The seventh blood sword's eyes lit up. Lu Ming stretched out his palm and a ball of purple mental energy fire danced in his palm. A seventh-rank alchemist, he exclaimed. More people's eyes lit up. How is it? I'll help you break the array, but I have a condition. Release the other talisman sect disciples. Lu Ming said loudly. Let them go? That's impossible. Lu Ming, what right do you have to negotiate with us? The little demon lord said coldly. Aha, not bad. This Lu Ming is really an idiot. He actually delivered himself to our door. Just in time, we'll take you down. You'll still have to obediently help us break the array. A young man on Lu Ming's right sneered. This young man was called Quan Fei. He was also a peerless heaven's pride of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, ranked 109th on the list of top 1,000 talents. Now, his cultivation had already reached the peak of the first level of the spirit embryo realm. He was extremely powerful. Even though Lu Ming was a 7th-rank alchemist, he was not afraid at all. He took large strides forward and closed in on Lu Ming. Obediently surrender and help us break the formation. Quan Fei laughed coldly and strode forward, sending a palm strike at Lu Ming. This palm was extremely powerful. The huge palm force locked onto Lu Ming from all directions. Lu Ming turned his head and looked at him coldly. Get lost. Suddenly, Lu Ming roared and took a step forward. Boom! The earth rumbled and the palm force that flew out collapsed instantly. Then Lu Ming slapped out. Pa! A slap landed directly on Quan Fei's face. Quan Fei let out a blood-curdling screech and was sent flying a few thousand meters away like a broken sack. He crashed heavily onto the ground and twitched non-stop. CSI. Gasps of shock could be heard as everyone looked at Lu Ming in shock. A single slap had actually sent Quan Fei, who was at the peak of the first level of the spirit embryo realm, flying. How could Lu Ming's combat strength be so strong? Although he had been careless and did not use the blood meridian fusion, Lu Ming's combat strength was still terrifying. How dare you injure the geniuses of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace? I'll cripple you now. The little demonic lord was furious. Demonic chi surged from his body. He took a step forward and rushed toward Lu Ming. He waved his palm in the air, and a terrifying saber light slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He was not afraid at all. He immediately burst out with dragon energy. His body was covered in a layer of scales as he threw a punch forward. Boom! The fist radiance and the saber radiance collided, causing a violent boom. Lu Ming and the little demon lord both took 3 steps back. Impossible! The little demon lord roared in disbelief. He had never expected that Lu Ming would be able to force him to retreat with one move. Even though he did not use his full strength in the attack just now. 4th level spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming's heart stirred. The little demon Lord Luo Li was stronger than the last time. He had broken through a level and reached the 4th level of the spirit embryo realm, 2 levels higher than Lu Ming. However, even if it was 2 levels higher, so what? Lu Ming was still confident. Around him, Blood Sword 7, Blood Sword 9, and Brotherly Tian, the Leaving Fire Sword. All the elites of the Sky Demon Valley looked grave. Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded their imagination. Chapter 919. 919 Only those with strength can negotiate. By Qixue and the other disciples of the Talisman sect were also dumbfounded. Oh! Lu Ming was actually able to fight against the little demon Lord Luoli. This kind of improvement was too great. Kill! The little demonic lord roared. Demonic chi rolled around his body, and a blade light shot into the sky. Whoosh! A shocking saber radiance cut through the void and slashed toward Lu Ming. This blade was much stronger than the previous one. Let's see how you're going to block this. The little demon lord's cold voice rang out along with the saber light. Is that so? Lu Ming sneered and took a step forward. The aura on his body grew stronger, and a second dragon energy burst out in his body. Boom! Just like before, a loud boom rang out and the energy roared. Bang! 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 This time the little demon lord also took 3 steps back, while Lu Ming only took 2 steps back. The little demon lord was actually at a disadvantage. Everyone was shocked. Now they had already seen that Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 2nd level of the spirit embryo realm, while the little demon lord was at the 4th level of the spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming could actually cross 2 levels and suppress the little demon lord. How was this possible? It was simply inconceivable. Who was the little demon lord? He was a genius among geniuses. Die, I want you to die. 9 Deaths Demon Saber. The little demonic lord roared, his killing intent surging like a tide as he slashed out with his saber. Demonic might shook the sky, and the power was terrifying. You're not enough. Lu Ming took a step forward and rushed toward the little demon lord. Another burst of dragon energy erupted in his body. Lu Ming's strength had increased. With every punch he threw, the space shook violently as if it would collapse at any time. Lu Ming and the little demonic lord were engaged in a fierce battle. The entire area was shaking violently. Buzz! The two of them fought from the ground to the sky, and in the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. Bang! Then a figure fell to the ground at an extreme speed and stomped on the ground heavily, spitting out a mouthful of blood. It was little demon Lord Luoli. He was injured by Lu Ming. Lu Ming stood in the air and looked down at the little demon lord with a cold gaze. Buzz! An NBSP whoosh! Oh! At this moment, Brother Litian and the 2 powerful heaven's favorites from the Sky Demon Valley surrounded Lu Ming in a flash. Luoli, let's attack together and take down Lu Ming. Brother Litian said. Not bad. There's no need to talk nonsense with him. The sovereign of the Sky Demon Valley said. Sanguine Sword 7 and Sanguine Sword 9 also looked at Lu Ming with hostile gazes. Ha ha ha! At this moment Lu Ming suddenly burst out laughing. Lu Ming, what are you laughing at? Brother Litian said coldly. Do you think you can take me down by joining forces? How laughable! If I were to fight to the death, I'm confident that I can kill one of you. Lu Ming's cold eyes swept across Brother Litian and the rest. They did not know why, but when Lu Ming's gaze swept across them, their hearts turned cold. They did not doubt Lu Ming's words. When Lu Ming was fighting with the little demon lord, although the little demon lord did not use his full strength and did not use blood meridian fusion, Lu Ming did not use blood meridian fusion either. Moreover, none of them knew if Lu Ming had any other trump cards that he had not used. If he had a stronger trump card, it was still possible for him to kill one of them in a desperate battle. Who would be willing to die together with Lu Ming? At the thought of this, their expressions turned ugly. I've already said that I'm here to cooperate. Let go of the Talisman sect's disciples and I'll help you break the array. After breaking the array, we'll leave the treasures inside to our own abilities. If we really have to fight, no one will be able to get the treasures in the ruins. Lu Ming said. This time the scene fell into silence. 7th Sanguine Sword and the others had grave expressions as they pondered. Lu Ming had a faint smile on his lips. This was strength. Only when one was strong could they talk about cooperation. Now Lu Ming had already displayed his strong strength. If one didn't have the strength, it would be a joke to talk about cooperation with the other party. One would be suppressed by the other party. It's impossible to let the Talisman Amulet sect disciples leave. If we really let them leave, we might not be able to stop you if you play any tricks. Brother Litian said. That's right. I can't let them leave, but I can ask them to break the formation with you, the 7th Bloodsword said. He would let the Talisman Amulet sect disciples follow Lu Ming to break the formation while they guarded the surroundings. This way Lu Ming would not be able to play any tricks. Alright, let's do it this way. Release the Talisman sect disciples and the Talisman sect disciples who are breaking the array, Lu Ming said. Brother Litian and the rest nodded. Then they had the Talisman Amulet sect disciples walk to Lu Ming's side. Zongzi. Lu Ming Zongzi. The Talisman Amulet sect disciples walked to Lu Ming's side and looked at him gratefully. Lu Ming nodded and looked ahead casually. He said coldly, "There's still one more person, why not let him go?" Bai Qixue was still in their hands. "We can't let this woman go. I can see that you have a special relationship with her. In order to prevent you from playing any tricks, she must be controlled by us." The little demon lord walked to Bai Qixue and said with a cunning smile. There was a cold glint in Lu Ming's eyes. These people were all geniuses. Each of them had deep thoughts and was very meticulous. Of course, they could not trust Lu Ming completely. Alright, let's go break the formation now, Lu Ming said and strode into the legacy site. The other Talisman sect disciples followed closely behind him. Let's go, we'll follow him. Don't let him play any tricks, the little demon lord said, his eyes flashing with killing intent. He hated Lu Ming to the core. The paragons of the Heavenly Corpse sect in the Sky Demon Valley also nodded. The three parties left a few people to keep watch outside. They moved one after another and followed Lu Ming. The little demon lord even took action personally. He clasped Bai Qixue's shoulder with his fingers, not giving her a chance to escape. Lu Ming stopped after a few thousand meters. In front of them was an area densely covered with formations. This area was about 10,000 meters deep, and after crossing this area they would reach the core of the palace complex. In other words, this 10,000-meter area was densely covered with arrays. Lu Ming took a light step on the ground and rows of inscriptions slithered forward like living snakes. The next moment, a complicated array appeared on the ground in front of him, shining with a colorful light. Lu Ming's gaze was fixed on the arrays, searching for their weaknesses and thinking of ways to crack them. A moment later, he extended a finger and waved it in the air. Inscriptions flew forward and entered the array. Bang! Bang! Immediately, a few formations collapsed, turning into light and dissipating. Brother Litian, the 7th Sanguine Sword, and the others' eyes lit up. In just a short while, Lu Ming had already cracked several arrays. There was hope for him to crack the array. At the same time, their eyes were filled with solemnness. Lu Ming's refinement path standard was beyond their imagination. Luoli, keep a close eye on this lady. Lu Ming is well versed in the art of formations. This place is full of formations. We have to be careful to prevent him from playing any tricks. Brother Litian sent a message to Luoli. Chapter 920. 920 Breaking the Formation. I know. Don't worry. I'll look after her. Lu Ming won't have a chance. Roli nodded. Oh, Zongzi, you're so powerful. At the side, the Talisman sect's disciples cast Lu Ming looks of admiration. Some of them had already been trying to break the array for several days and knew how difficult it was to break it. In the past few days, many Talisman puppet sect disciples had been killed by the array. However, after Lu Ming came, he had only observed for a short while and he had already broken a few large arrays. They knew that Lu Ming's understanding of formations far surpassed theirs. Lu Ming continued to watch. This time he spent even less time. He waved his fingers and another array collapsed in front of him. Lu Ming realized that the formations that appeared in this world during the Battle of Providence were not particularly advanced, difficult, or beyond their abilities. It was as if he was doing this on purpose to give them a chance to gain experience. Lu Ming was filled with curiosity about the Battle of Providence. He had a feeling that there was a pair of invisible hands behind the scenes that were controlling everything. He shook his head in his heart. These things were not something he could think about now. It was useless even if he thought about it. It was said that the Battle of Providence was taking place in the other continents overseas. To be able to control the endless mainland to participate in the Battle of Providence. What was the use of thinking about such an extraordinary ability? Even a martial royal realm expert would train his sex geniuses obediently in order to obtain the light from Providence. Don't those martial emperors want to find out the secret behind it? Of course they wanted to, but they just didn't have the ability to. Lu Ming cast aside the distracting thoughts in his mind and continued to crack the array. His speed of breaking the formation was very fast. As he broke the formation, he walked in. In just a day's time they had advanced 3,000 meters. The little demon lord and the rest followed closely behind Lu Ming. Their eyes were burning with passion. This ruin was filled with so many formations. It must be extraordinary. The treasures inside must be extraordinary. If he could get it, it would be a great opportunity. Moreover, he would probably have a lot of luck value. They all revealed looks of anticipation. However, after that, Lu Ming's speed of breaking the array slowed down. The deeper he went, the more complicated the array was and the harder it was to crack. It took them 2 days to advance another 3,000 meters. He was still 4,000 meters away from the palace. Lu Ming spent a total of 5 days on the last 4,000 meters. In total, Lu Ming had been breaking the array for 8 days. At this time they were only about 100 meters away from the palace. But here they stopped. In front of him the formation glowed. There were flames, ice, lightning, poison gas, and so on that flickered continuously, blocking his line of sight. He couldn't see what was ahead at all. Lu Ming had been standing there for 3 hours. Lu Ming, what are you doing? Why aren't you breaking the formation? The little demon lord berated. I can't break the formation here. Lu Ming shook his head. You can't break it. The little demon lord and the others were stunned. Lu Ming, you better think of a way to crack it. Otherwise, none of you from the Talisman Amulet sect will be able to leave this place. You'll all die here. The little demon lord said coldly. Idiot. Lu Ming looked at the little demon lord and suddenly berated him. What did you just say? You bastard, what did you say? The little demon lord roared. Lu Ming actually called him an idiot? He was furious. What are you if not an idiot? I said I can't break it, but that doesn't mean we can't go in. In the Tao of formations where there is death, there is life. As long as you find a way out, there is no need to break it, you can go straight. You don't even know this common sense. If you're not an idiot, what are you? Lu Ming sneered. You. The little demon lord's face turned red, and he almost vomited blood. If not for the fact that he needed Lu Ming now, he would have killed him with one palm. Bastard, just you wait. Once we enter the palace, I'll kill all of these symbol puppet sect disciples and enjoy this woman in front of you. The little demon lord roared in his heart, his eyes extremely cold. Lu Ming, you've been watching for so long. Have you found a way out? Brother Litian asked. Over there. Lu Ming pointed forward. Brother Litian's expression changed. Lu Ming, are you kidding me? Brother Litian said with a dark expression. The direction that Lu Ming was pointing at was a sea of fire. The terrifying flames were burning. One look at it and it was terrifying. That's the way out. If you don't believe me, you can send someone first. You'll know once you try. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Do you think we're stupid? Let your Talisman Amulet sect go first. The little demon lord shouted coldly. Not bad. Let your Talisman Amulet sect go first. The seventh sanguine sword also said coldly. Lu Ming's expression turned ugly. You guys go first. Lu Ming said to the Talisman Amulet sect disciples. The Talisman sect's disciples looked at each other and saw the flames in front of them. Their eyes were filled with fear. Let's go, Zongzi won't harm us. Hai Fei took the lead and walked forward, followed by Lu Guang. The rest of the Talisman Amulet sect's disciples followed behind and stepped into the sea of fire. The moment they stepped into the sea of fire, The sea of fire distorted and the figures of the talisman amulet sect's disciples disappeared. It's really a way out. Hurry up and follow them. Don't let those talisman amulet sect disciples escape. The little demon lord hurriedly ordered. A few geniuses of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace led more than 10 men of sacrifice and rushed into the sea of fire. However, as soon as they rushed into the sea of fire, they let out shrill screams and were burned to ashes in the blink of an eye. The power of that flame was incomparably terrifying. What's going on? Damn it, Lu Ming, you're cheating. You're looking for death. The little demon lord immediately roared. Brother Litian, the seventh sanguine sword, and the others also exuded a terrifying killing intent that enveloped Lu Ming. What do you mean I cheated? You're just too impatient. The formations here are overlapping and constantly changing. The path of survival is also constantly changing. It was a path of survival just now, but now it's a path of death. It's normal. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Why didn't you say so earlier? The little demon lord roared. You didn't ask me. Why should I say it? And didn't I ask your people to go first? I was planning to send a batch of your people in first, and after the path of survival changes, find another path of survival, and then send another batch in. You were the one who insisted on letting the talisman amulet sect's disciples leave first. Then before I could even say anything, your people rushed forward. Who can you blame? Lu Ming pursed his lips and looked at the little demon lord in disdain. The little demon lord trembled with anger. All right, Lu Ming. Can you find a new way to survive? Brother Li Tian frowned. At the same time, they paid more attention to Bai Qixue. Now, the talisman sect only had Bai Qixue in their hands. Lu Ming continued to watch. A moment later, he pointed at a place full of lightning and said, That's the way out. Let's set off from there. You guys go first. The little demon lord pointed at a few men of sacrifice. If you want to leave, then leave a little more, don't leave in groups. The more this formation operates, the more changes it will have. After a while, even I won't be able to break it. Lu Ming said. Chapter 921. 921 Toying with the Paragons. All of you come with us. Don't worry with us here, he won't dare to play any tricks. Oh. The young demonic lord pointed at some of the paragons. The seventh bloodsword, the paragons of the heavenly demon valley, and the others had also arranged for a group of people to rush in according to the path Lu Ming had pointed. Sure enough, as soon as those people rushed into the lightning area, their figures flickered and they disappeared one after another. Only then did Brother Litian and the others look a little better. After that, Lu Ming continued to watch and look for a way out. After a while, Lu Ming pointed to an area covered with ice and said, Let's go through this road. However, the little demonic lord, Brother Litian, and the seventh sanguine sword did not move. These most powerful geniuses did not trust Lu Ming. If what Lu Ming said was false, wouldn't they die an unjust death if they went in? Although they had Bai Qixue with them, they had to be very careful when it came to their own lives. I think it would be best if we go in together. The little demon lord looked at Lu Ming and pushed Bai Qixue forward slowly. Brother Litian and the rest nodded. That was for the best. If there was a trap, Lu Ming and Bai Qixue would be in danger. That's for the best. You and Qixue go first, I'll walk in the middle. You guys can rest assured this way. Lu Ming took a few steps to the side, seemingly wanting to make way. Good. Lu Ming, you better not play any tricks. Otherwise, both of you will lose your lives. The little demon lord said coldly. He held Bai Qixue's shoulder and walked forward. Lu Ming stood there without moving. The little demon lord was relieved and walked toward the ice area. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment the ground glowed, and a formation appeared out of nowhere. A few sharp sword chi stabbed toward the little demon lord's forehead, fast as lightning. The little demon lord's heart had just relaxed when he didn't expect such a move. Subconsciously, he let go and retreated to protect himself. Buzz! At this moment Lu Ming moved. His body was like a stream of light as he rushed toward the little demon lord. A terrifying fist force bombarded the little demon lord like a storm. Lu Ming! The little demonic lord roared angrily and slashed out with his palm. Bang! The little demonic lord's figure retreated repeatedly. Damn it, block the exit. Brother Litian, Bloodsword 7, Bloodsword 9, and the elites of the Sky Demon Valley all roared in anger. One of the elites of the Sky Demon Valley was the fastest and was the closest to the ice region. His figure flashed and he appeared at the entrance of the ice region to prevent Lu Ming from entering. The rest of the people made their moves and charged toward Lu Ming. Brother Litian, Bloodsword 7, Bloodsword 9, and the Sky Demon Valley's demon race prodigy were all at the 4th level of the spirit embryo realm. Especially Brother Litian and the 7th Sanguine Sword, who had reached the peak of the 4th level of the spirit embryo realm. With all of them joining forces, their power was terrifying, as if they were going to crush Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming did not hesitate to release 5 bursts of dragon power. His body was filled with power. Qi Shui, go to the poisonous area. Lu Ming pulled by Qi Shui and pushed her into the poisonous zone. In front of the toxic area, no one stopped him. Lu Ming was lying when he said that the icy area was the way out. In fact, the poisonous area was the way out. His purpose was to distract the other party's attention. Bai Qishua's figure disappeared into the poisonous zone. Nobody could stop her. Damn it! Brother Litian and the others knew that they had been tricked. Boom! Boom! As he pushed Bai Qishua away, Lu Ming threw out a few punches in a row to block Brother Litian and the others, buying time and waiting for the escape route to change. Everyone exchanged blows, and the terrifying light drowned Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body trembled violently as he retreated. Ah, damn it, stop him! The little demonic lord roared and charged at Lu Ming. It was the truth. He did not dare to rush into the poisonous zone now. Who knew if there would be any changes to the way out? He could only capture Lu Ming and ask him to lead the way. Bang! Bang! The little demon lord let out an angry roar. Chapter 922. 922 Test Precious Treasure. The rest of the people had ugly expressions on their faces as well. So many people had witnessed it, but in the end Lu Ming had saved all the Talisman Sect disciples. They could not even stop Lu Ming himself. If word of this got out, they would be embarrassed. Oh, since the paths of life and death here are constantly changing, let's try them one by one. There are only 9 regions in total anyway. Brother Litian said coldly. Yes, that's the only way. You go to the flame area, you go to the ice area. Immediately, Bloodsword 17 began to give orders to the men of sacrifice. The 9 regions were constantly changing. That was easy to handle. As long as 9 men of sacrifice stepped into the 9 regions at the same time, they would naturally know which region was the path of survival. The 9 men of sacrifice stepped into the 9 regions at the same time without hesitation. 8 of them died immediately, leaving only 1 man alive in the black fog. He disappeared in a flash. There's a way out, charge. The little demonic lord and the others all rushed into the black mist and disappeared. Oh. After Lu Ming stepped into the poisonous zone, he appeared in front of a palace in the next moment. There was no one in sight. The Talisman Sect's disciples who had entered earlier, as well as the disciples from the other factions, did not see them either. It seems that the formation was randomly teleported to any corner of the palace. Lu Ming pondered. I hope that Qi Shui and the others don't run into the little demon lord and the others. Lu Ming knew very well that the array would not be able to stop the little demon lord and the rest. He only needed to send 9 people to try. Lu Ming immediately sized up his surroundings. There were palaces everywhere, and between the palaces there were some small alleys. Following that, Lu Ming walked into the palace in front of him. There was nothing in the palace. It was empty. Shaking his head, Lu Ming walked along a small alley toward the other palaces. However, after walking for a while, he frowned. He realized that he had stepped into an array. This formation was like a maze because after walking in his alley for a while, he returned to the original place. There was also a formation in the palace. Lu Ming was not shocked. Instead, he was happy. It was good to have an array formation. It was an advantage for the talisman sect's disciples. Even if they encountered the little demonic lord and the others, they might have a chance to escape. Lu Ming immediately observed his surroundings carefully. After a while, Lu Ming's lips curled into a faint smile. He took mysterious steps and walked forward. Half an hour later, he had walked out of the maze. In front of him, a huge palace appeared. The palace gate was tightly shut. Lu Ming went forward and pushed the door open. He walked in. The palace was empty, but there was a stone door in the innermost part. Lu Ming walked towards the stone door. Whoosh! Whoosh! All of a sudden, sharp air-piercing sounds were heard from both sides. 2 rays of saber light were slashing toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure moved and dodged backward, avoiding the 2 saber lights. However, the 2 saber lights continued to slash at Lu Ming. A puppet! At this moment, Lu Ming realized that it was 2 puppets that were attacking him. The 2 puppets were in human form. Their bodies had a metallic luster and their eyes were golden. They were filled with a cold and emotionless aura. Each of them held a big knife in their hands and they slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming activated the prison-suppressing heaven technique. 4 types of concepts swirled around his palms as he struck out twice. Clang! Clang! With 2 loud bangs, the 2 puppets were forced to retreat by Lu Ming. It's equivalent to the peak of the 3rd-level spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming's heart stirred. The 2 puppets were pushed back by Lu Ming. They stomped their feet and charged at Lu Ming again. Buzz! Lu Ming dodged and struck out 2 more palms. The 2 palms directly hit the 2 puppets, and the 2 puppets were smashed into pieces. Lu Ming strode forward and walked towards the stone door. No puppet came out to stop him. Lu Ming pushed the stone door open. There was a stone room in front of him. There was another stone door in front of the stone room. However, as soon as Lu Ming stepped into the stone chamber, 2 more puppets appeared and charged at him. This time, the strength of the 2 puppets had reached the 4th level of the spirit embryo realm. It was still easily dealt with by Lu Ming. Lu Ming stepped forward and pushed the stone door open. Behind the stone door was another stone room, and in front of the stone room was another stone door. This time, a total of 9 4th-level spirit embryo realm puppets appeared. What's in front of us? These trials are like tests. I'd like to go and take a look. Lu Ming's mind raced as he launched an attack. In a short while, the 9 puppets were scattered by him. Sure enough, there were stone rooms below, and there were puppets in each room, and they were getting stronger and stronger. When Lu Ming reached the 9th stone chamber, the puppet that appeared had already reached the 6th level of the spirit embryo realm. However, they could not stop Lu Ming and they were defeated by him one by one. After the 9th stone chamber, there were no more stone chambers. Instead, there was a passage. On both sides of the passage, there were metal puppets standing motionless with sabers in their hands. Nest also, what level of strength do the puppets here have? They can't all be at the 7th level spirit embryo realm, right? Lu Ming was somewhat speechless. He slowly walked forward. Gotcha! All of a sudden, one of the puppets moved. Its cold metallic eyes glared at Lu Ming. Bang! He took a step forward, the saber in his hand exuding a sharp light, and slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming burst out with 5 streams of dragon energy and threw a punch at the puppet. Bang! With a dull thud, the puppet and Lu Ming were forced to take 6 or 7 steps back. Whoa, this is definitely a puppet at the peak of the 7th level spirit embryo realm. What powerful strength! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. You're pretty strong to be able to force me back. At this moment, the puppet suddenly spoke. However, its voice was cold and emotionless. What's inside? Lu Ming asked. There's a precious treasure inside. There will be tests along the way. Our strength will be adjusted according to the strength of the people who enter. The stronger the cultivation, the stronger we will be. Only if you pass the test will you be able to obtain the precious treasure inside. The puppet spoke, similarly emotionless. There are so many puppets equivalent to the peak of the 7th level spirit embryo realm. How can I defeat them all? Are you kidding me? Lu Ming looked at both sides of the passage. There were more than 100 puppets in total. He was speechless. With his current combat strength, how was it possible for him to defeat hundreds of puppets at the peak of the 7th level spirit embryo realm? If he were to burst out with his strongest battle strength and circulate the prison-suppressing heavenly art to its strongest, it was still possible to defeat 2 or 3 of them. However, after that, he would run out of true chi and would no longer be able to fight. This test was too difficult. He was only at the 2nd level of the spirit embryo realm, and the puppet that appeared was actually at the 7th level of the spirit embryo realm, which was 5 levels higher than him. How many people could complete it? There's no need for you to defeat all of us. You just need to pass through this passage. The puppet spoke again. Chapter 923. 923 Chapter 923 Difficult Challenge. I just need to pass. Oh. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Passing and defeating were 2 different concepts. If he just had to pass, it would be much easier. Lu Ming carefully sized up the passage in front of him. Suddenly, he waved his finger, and all kinds of runes and formations appeared on his body. They were all support type, and with the array, Lu Ming's abilities had increased again. He moved and rushed toward the passage. He planned to catch them off guard and rush through the passage in one go. However, the puppets seemed to have known that he was going to attack. When Lu Ming moved, the puppets moved as well, and the sharp saber light slashed at Lu Ming. On both sides of the passage, the other puppets' cold gazes were also directed at Lu Ming. Nest, your reaction is so fast. Since the surprise attack had failed, Lu Ming could only force his way in with his actual combat strength. Buzz! He dodged the first puppet's saber light and flashed past its side, but what greeted him was even more saber light. Lu Ming punched continuously, clashing with the few sabers that were slashing at him. The powerful force made Lu Ming's body tremble, and the saber light was also hit back by Lu Ming. Buzz! Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven stomping steps and charged forward. Unfortunately, the space was too narrow. He could not unleash the power of the 9 dragons' heaven stomping steps. He had just moved when the saber light in front of him slashed toward him. It surrounded Lu Ming and sealed off all the space. Lu Ming gritted his teeth. He could only wave his fists continuously and bombard the air. Even with the aid of the formation, it was still very difficult to advance. These were all puppets made of a strange metal. They were impenetrable and extremely hard. The most shocking thing was that they could use martial arts techniques. A puppet was more difficult to deal with than a human warrior of the same level. Lu Ming charged forward repeatedly, but he could only break through the encirclement of more than 10 puppets. There were still 80 to 90 puppets ahead. I don't believe that I can't make it. Lu Ming gritted his teeth. With a dragon's roar, the 9 dragons' bloodline appeared. Lu Ming performed the bloodline fusion and turned into a 2-meter-long 9 dragon. Its 9 dragon claws swiped in all directions, sweeping away the saber light. After transforming into the 9 dragons, his combat strength had increased again, and the speed of his charge had increased once again. Boom! 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 Terrifying rumbles came from the tunnel and reverberated in the air. After a full half an hour, Lu Ming successfully rushed through the passage. As soon as they rushed through the passage, the puppets quieted down and stood on the 2 sides of the passage motionless. I'm so tired. Lu Ming sat on the ground, panting heavily. Lu Ming's essential core was completely depleted after he rushed through the passage. Fortunately, he gritted his teeth and charged through in one go. Otherwise, he would have vomited blood. The difficulty was too high. How could an ordinary genius pass? However, Lu Ming began to look forward to it. The greater the difficulty, the greater the harvest. What kind of treasure would be inside? The puppet had said earlier that there was a precious treasure inside. Lu Ming's eyes were burning with passion. Let's first recover my true chi. Lu Ming took out a pile of raw gemstones and started to recover his essential core. 3 hours later, Lu Ming's essential core had recovered to its peak, and he was filled with energy again. Then Lu Ming stepped forward. Buzz! He had only walked a few dozen meters when dense inscriptions appeared on the ground, forming a large array. It condensed into flaming dragons that pounced at Lu Ming. There's still a test. Is there an end to it? Lu Ming was so depressed that he was about to vomit blood. He could only clench his fists and bombard the air continuously. Boom! Boom! After a few consecutive explosions, Lu Ming retreated rapidly. This formation is so powerful. It's even more powerful than the golems from before. How am I supposed to pass through it? Lu Ming took a few steps back and a grave look flashed in his eyes. The flood dragon formed by the formation was too powerful, exceeding the power of the peak of the 7th level spirit embryo realm. Furthermore, this was only the appearance of a single formation. There would definitely be more in front of him. This test was truly too difficult. Wait, I don't have to force my way through the formation. I can break it with the Tao of Inscription. Suddenly Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Formations were different from puppets. Puppets could not be controlled by others, but formations could be broken. Lu Ming immediately looked at it carefully. After a while, he waved his hands repeatedly. Runes appeared and entered the formation. With a bang, the formation collapsed. Lu Ming took a step forward, but another formation appeared in front of him. Lu Ming continued to carve runes to break it. However, at this moment under his feet, where he had just broken the formation, another formation appeared. Damn! Didn't we already crack it? Why is there a new one? Lu Ming was depressed. He could only continue to inscribe runes to speed up the cracking. Bang! The formation in front collapsed, but there were attacks coming from behind. Lu Ming had no choice but to use all his strength to resist the attacks and break the formation at the same time. Just as he was breaking it, the formation that he had just broken appeared again. Lu Ming really wanted to vomit blood. This array would be condensed again after it was cracked. What else could he do? He had no choice but to grit his teeth and continue. In this way, Lu Ming blocked and cracked the attacks at the same time. This process lasted for a full 6 hours. Lu Ming was already half dead from exhaustion. He had used up a lot of his essential core, and even his mental energy fire was almost completely depleted. This won't do. There's no end to this formation. I'll break one and another will appear. It's impossible to break all of them. I'd better leave. I'll be in danger once my true essence is exhausted. Lu Ming's mind was racing. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly realized that the array that he had just deciphered did not reappear. Could it be that the energy to activate the formation has been used up, and I can't continue to form the formation? Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up and he looked excited. He continued to break the formation. As expected, the next array that he had to crack would not appear. Since it would not reappear, it was much easier for Lu Ming. Not long after, he had cracked all the arrays and stepped into a secret room. No, I'm so tired. I'd better rest and recover first. Lu Ming panted heavily. He sat cross-legged, took out the rough stone, and began to regulate his breathing. A few hours later, he had fully recovered his true essence, but his mental energy fire was still very dim. Just now, his mental fire had been severely depleted, and it was almost completely depleted. Lu Ming activated the meditation and started to restore his mental energy fire. In this world, not only was the spiritual qi extremely rich, but the conception of heaven and earth was also very clear. Even sensing the nomological laws was much easier. By circulating his mental cultivation method, he could easily absorb the power of inscription in the inscription laws and increase the strength of his mental fire. After half a day, Lu Ming's mental energy fire became vigorous again. He had completely recovered. At this moment, Lu Ming stood up and sized up the secret room. This time there were no puppets or formations in the way. He seemed to have reached the end. In the middle of the secret room, there was a picture scroll floating in the air. Chapter 924. 924 Mountain and River Diagram. Don't tell me this is the treasure inside. Oh! Lu Ming's eyes sparkled with great anticipation. Lu Ming strode forward and observed the surroundings. After ensuring that there was no danger, he reached out and grabbed the drawing. What kind of treasure is this? Lu Ming sized it up. It looked very ordinary. Then he opened the painting scroll. The first thing that came into view was a line of words. It was the mountain and river diagram, a treasure of the heavenly abode. At the sight of this line of words, Lu Ming's heart started to beat faster and his breathing became a little rushed. A grotto heaven treasure. It was actually a legendary grotto heaven treasure. Legend had it that an Eden treasure contained an alternate world. In other words, there was a world within the Eden treasure. There were mountains, rivers, wind, rain, lightning, and thunder. It was like a small world, and living beings could enter it to live and cultivate. In the divine wilderness continent, there were only legends of grotto heaven treasures, but no one had ever seen one. Not even the imperial Tao experts had one. Lu Ming quickly opened the scroll. The scroll was more than 2 meters long. A vast picture appeared in front of Lu Ming. The vast mountain range and the mountain peaks that rose into the clouds were endless, as if a real world came into view. At this moment, Lu Ming had an idea and the Book of Destiny appeared before him. A line of words appeared on the Book of Destiny. You've obtained the mountain and river diagram, a grotto heaven treasure. Your luck points have increased by 100,000. Lu Ming's heart started to beat rapidly again. After obtaining the mountain and river diagram, his luck value had actually increased by 100,000. It was simply terrifying. In the past 2 months, Lu Ming had only obtained slightly more than 10,000 points of luck. Then, another line of words appeared on the Book of Destiny. It could only be used after being condensed with blood. He was probably talking about the mountain and river diagram. With a thought, the Book of Destiny disappeared. Lu Ming studied the mountain and river diagram for a while, then forced a few drops of blood from his fingertips and dripped them on the mountain and river diagram. The blood landed on the mountain and river diagram and was immediately absorbed by it, disappearing. Lu Ming then injected his essential core and began to refine the mountain and river diagram. All precious treasures needed to be refined before they could be used. The mountain and river diagram was undoubtedly a treasure among treasures. It was extremely difficult to refine. In the next half a month, Lu Ming was refining the mountain and river diagram. Moreover, Lu Ming had to drip fresh blood every day and use his blood as a medium to carry out the refinement. Half a month later, the mountain and river diagram was suspended above Lu Ming's head, emitting a mysterious glow. Slowly, the glow grew brighter and brighter. In the end, the mountain and river diagram shrank rapidly and flew into the space between Lu Ming's eyebrows, disappearing. The mountain and river diagram was finally completely refined, and it flew into Lu Ming's sea of consciousness. With a thought, the mountain and river diagram reappeared in his hand. I'll try. Lu Ming could not wait any longer. With another thought, Lu Ming's figure suddenly disappeared. In the secret chamber, only the mountain and river diagram was left floating. Lu Ming's body appeared on a mountain peak. Standing on the mountain peak and looking into the distance, what came into view were vast mountains and ancient trees forming forests. The fragrance of flowers assailed the nose and waves of fragrance came from them. Is this the world inside the mountain and river diagram? It's no different from the real world, and the spiritual qi is also very dense. Lu Ming realized that the spirit qi here was very rich. The mountain and river diagram seemed to be absorbing the spirit qi from the outside world into the mountain and river diagram at all times. Let's see how big the boundary of the mountain and river diagram is, he said. Lu Ming rose into the air, turned into a stream of light, and disappeared into the sky. Not long after, Lu Ming flew to the end. There was chaos in front of him. He had obviously reached the edge of the mountain and river diagram. Then Lu Ming turned around and flew to the edge of the mountain and river diagram. After that, he made a big circle in the mountain and river diagram. East to west, north to south, it's about 100,000 li. Lu Ming muttered with a hint of excitement in his eyes. This size was naturally incomparable to the vast divine wilderness continent. It was like a grain of sand, but Lu Ming was already extremely happy. Because this world was something he carried with him. Furthermore, it was not small either, slightly larger than the Burning Sun Empire. There was also spiritual energy here, and one could also sense the essence realm of heaven and earth and the law of inscription. Such a treasure was simply a creation of heaven and earth. In the past, the Supreme Divine Hall of the Nine Suns Supreme also contained a space that people could enter. However, it was only so big and the area was very limited. There was no spiritual chi of heaven and earth, nor could one feel the essence realm of heaven and earth or the law of inscription. Compared to the mountain and river diagram, it was many times worse. Treasure, this was a peerless treasure. There were indeed great fortunes and opportunities in the battle of destiny. No wonder so many geniuses were willing to risk their lives to participate in the battle of karmic luck. However, other than plants, there are no other living creatures. There are no demonic beasts, ordinary wild beasts, or any spiritual herbs. I'll have to replenish them slowly. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. Let's pick some spirit herbs first. Lu Ming smiled. He waved his hand and a large number of spiritual herbs appeared. There were low-level ones and high-level ones. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he planted the spiritual herbs on the nearby mountain peaks. 3 days later, Lu Ming had planted thousands of spiritual herbs on the peaks and mountains. Of course, for a distance of 100,000 miles, 1,000 spiritual herbs was like a drop in the ocean. Forget it, I'll take my time in the future. I've already spent enough time here. I'll go somewhere else. I wonder how the other talisman amulet sect disciples are doing? With a single thought, Lu Ming exited the mountain and river diagram. The mountain and river diagram glowed and entered the space between Lu Ming's eyebrows, disappearing. Lu Ming immediately walked out. There were no obstacles when he went out and he passed through easily. After a while, Lu Ming came out of the place and arrived outside the palace. He continued to walk through the small alley in the palace complex. After that, they entered a few palaces but they didn't gain anything. The palaces were empty. Half a day later, Lu Ming found a few bottles of pills in what looked like a side hall of an alchemy room. The congealing divine pill was a pill that could nurture one's spirit and congeal the spirit fire. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Previously, he had been forced to break through to a 7th-level alchemist due to the circumstances. His mental energy fire's foundation was somewhat unstable, and there were side effects. It would take a long time to recover. However, with the focus pill, he could recover in a short time without any side effects. It seemed that this place was specially designed to test inscription masters. Lu Ming speculated. Lu Ming continued to move forward. Suddenly, he heard the sound of fighting ahead. There were people fighting. Lu Ming dashed forward in a hurry. In front, 2 talisman amulet sect disciples were running away in a panic. Behind them, a youth with dense demonic chi was chasing after them. It was the little demonic lord. He was chasing after 2 talisman amulet sect disciples. You can't escape. The people of the symbol puppet sect deserve to die. The little demonic lord's killing intent burst forth as he strode forward. A black blade light slashed at a talisman amulet sect disciple. The 2 talisman amulet sect disciples took out their puppets and inscription scrolls to block, but it was useless. They were directly split apart by the little demon lord's blade. Poochie! The blade light slashed down, and a talisman amulet sect disciple was cut in half. Little demon lord, Lu Ming Zongzi will not let you off. The other talisman amulet sect disciple shouted. His face was filled with fear as he staggered backward. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.